Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Oh.
Yeah, we can't
And
have
this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. Welcome in. New set, new channel, same Cosmere. How you doing, folks? How is everybody today?
Just gonna adjust that a little bit. Get settled in. Hi.
Yeah.
How are we doing? What do we think?
Hello.
This is technically not our first book club bag. If you missed Fourth Wing, well, fuck you. I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's a decent book, and we had fun. And if you want to watch that video, it exists. But
yeah, I don't know that I recommend it, but I also don't know that I recommend the book. So.
Oh, you mean you don't know if you recommend the book club or the book?
Either. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
This is gonna be better.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this more than Fourth Wing.
Yeah,
I think it's a better written piece of literature. Although, definitely missing out on the constant description of men's abs.
Yeah. Brandon Sanderson could be a little more descriptive on, sweat and abs and hair, I guess. I feel like she talks about his hair. Anyways, it doesn't matter because this is not Fourth Wing.
No, this
is the Cosmere.
Dawnshard. That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
We have approached the novella that is the second interstitial novella of the Stormlight Archive between books 3 and 4. This is post Oathbringer, pre Rhythm of War, post Mistborn Era 2, maybe?
Who knows? That is a big old question mark. Before we get into the actual book, though, we have some new Nerds Radiant whose words have been accepted.
Yeah, people are here for those audiobook reactions,
yes.
which will still be on the Nerdy Nightly for members over there for less than a month, June 13th. There will be no audiobook reactions on the channel starting June 13th. You have been warned.
Yeah.
But the good news is the Nerds Radiant membership here is actually $2 American cheaper. So enjoy that.
Oh yes, it's $3 in case you want to keep your membership in both places because you're here for different stuff. But it changes out. It's a little scary. So thanks for making the leap over to a whole new channel. That's crazy.
It
big ask.
It definitely feels like we killed the book club. That's
like our biggest fear. Yeah.
Well, it's what happened with Astral Dusk when we moved it to its own channel.
Yeah.
And so if you could tell people we're here, we don't usually ask to be shared.
That's right.
But, talk in the book club channels in the Discord about how we're on a different channel now, and hopefully people will find us.
Yeah, if we kill book club, we're so sorry. Anyways, welcome to the Nerds Radiant. We've got Johan, we've got Chris Pilkington, we've got Nicholas Palma, we got Blue Sun, we got Kayla, we got Arazu. And Light Blinded Fool, welcome. Y'all joined sometime in the last 24 hours, I think.
Yeah, that's not all. We also got Al Gonzalez.
Hell yeah.
Coming in hot. Chris Hazelden dropped a super chat for us. Thank you for that super chat.
Yay, thank you.
Great. We also have Sweet and Savory. Thank you for joining the Nerds Radiant. And because Arzu understands how the Windrunners function.
Right.
When you come in with a Windrunner, you come in with your squires.
Right.
Arzu
now
has brought
20
in 20 squires. Thank you for gifting those memberships out to the community. Welcome to the Nerds Radiant, everyone.
I'm pretty sure the Lopen got a,
The Lopen got a squire?
No. I was making a joke.
No, but Fabu did. What's up, Fabu?
Hell yeah. Also, Blue, welcome in.
Blue is of Nerds Radiant. Thank you to everyone who's joining up. The audiobook reactions will... I don't know that we're going to have any this week. Sorry about that. Because I think we're covering essays, and I am not doing an audiobook reaction to an essay.
That actually sounds awful.
Do refuse. But we will be coming back hot with audiobook reactions to Rhythm of War. Also, if you want audiobook reactions to Iron Flame, start talking about that because we're probably going to get into the rest of the Empyrean saga pretty quickly here.
Yeah, for sure. I did not realize that this alert would go off for every single membership that was gifted. I thought it was like a one alert for someone who gifted memberships.
Did you set it to be a one per whole gift?
I have no idea.
Well, then, yeah, that's pretty typical.
Yeah, so that's fun. There's just going to be books falling into your lap for the next 20 minutes.
I love that for me.
Yeah.
I want more books falling into my lap.
Oh, no, wait, you have the book. Never mind.
I do have the book. I do have a copy of Dawnshard.
It's so cute.
It is such a honestly, this is such a nice little printing.
I love it.
Yeah,
honestly, it's cute.
I'm a big fan of hardcovers that aren't dust jackets.
Yeah.
I like the print the cover right onto the hardcover.
I'm so sick of dust jackets.
I hate dust jackets.
I hate them. they always get like tattered
Let me see
and like if they don't sit right, if they get ripped, I fucking hate them. That trend needs to end.
I hate reading with them.
Yeah.
Like I can't leave a dust jacket on a hardcover book.
Awful. Terrible.
I always like I've been reading What Doesn't Break, the Laudna. I'm gonna put a review for that on this channel soon. But the What Doesn't Break Laudna tie-in novel, her prequel, that I've been enjoying. And although I've been putting it down a lot, we'll get into the review what I think of it. But the
coming soon on this
dust
channel.
jacket is somewhere in the streaming room because I started reading it there and I threw the dust jacket away and like I just can't.
It's lost to the ether.
And what really bugs me is books that have a beautiful dust jacket and then when you take the dust jacket off, it's just nothing. Yeah, the actual book isn't very. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't want to keep the dust jacket on.
I know.
Be mindful of the book underneath the dust jacket.
Yeah.
They're cheap, they rip, and I don't know. I don't really get it. They don't keep dust off the book.
I hate them so much. I do not understand. It's like one of those weird, like, does it really matter things that is a hill that I will die on that I'm like, no, fuck this.
But this is a book club, so this is where we talk about things like this.
Yeah, we should do a whole episode on dust jacket.
I think we just did. I think
that was a whole episode.
How far into the episode are we?
No.
We're not even 10 minutes yet. Okay, we can still tangent. We're not past the tangent phase. Clarice, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. I'm really happy with the new set. Chat, let us know what you think. I love this room so much. I am so sad that we're gonna have to move.
We are gonna have to move, yeah.
Yeah, in like the fall. But
can we briefly get into why we have a new set?
Yeah.
The reason for the chairs that swivel.
Yeah.
So, as some of you might know, we have an incredible osteopath.
Yeah.
Who takes care of our bodies. And we were both having the same physical issue in our back, but in opposite directions. And she couldn't figure out what the fuck was wrong with our spines. And one day we have this like mid-back rotation issue that was bothering both of us. And one day I was like, oh, it's where I turn to talk to you in the Valencia chairs downstairs.
Yeah.
Or on the old set, in the old house, in the gaming chairs. And it's because we do these long shows, but we couldn't swivel them because the arms were locked.
I know, but at least they like had some momentum.
So the problem with the podcast and the reactions and everything we do is that both of us sit on the same side every episode and we swivel and then we get this like pull in our back that our osteopath needs to like jam her elbow into to fix. And so for part of the reason why we changed to this so that we could turn and face each other while we're talking to each other and turn and is literally for our physical health. Book club was causing us physical pain.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just one of those weird things you don't think about that like your job is to sit in a chair all day, but how you sit in that chair really matters.
Yeah. And if you like switch like positions, like people get upset.
Yeah.
Like if we had traded off, like people would get mad.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a familiarity thing and part of it is jokes. But yeah, so we decided we got a new area for a new set. So reactions will still be down there obviously, but having our 3-hour show once per week have
once per week. And the reason it started to get bad was because we did Kushiel's. There was a period in January where we were doing 2 3-hour book clubs a week.
Right, yeah.
Plus we were doing like so many reactions in January for all the movies and that process was starting to get ahead for Japan.
Yeah.
Anyway, new set. And also we wanted separate microphones to have your level be a little bit higher.
Hopefully the audio is better. I mean, I listened back to Fourth Wing a little bit and it sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I like the audio better than our downstairs audio.
Yeah. So yeah, any feedback is appreciated, positive or negative. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I think it's cute. I just wish you could see my backpacks up there.
Yeah, Arizu says the audio is great. Talon Ramel says I had similar neck issues from being on my phone for work too much.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
That will absolutely do it. I do like one of the things that I've because we've been working out a lot lately. I found my posture's a lot better.
Yeah.
And I actually my posture being better has made me more aware of when I'm on my phone too much.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh no, I want to be here.
Like, oh,
and my
God.
phone is making me like this little
Just
goblin.
cringe. Yeah.
It's pulling me down into the ground and I just doom scroll.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And so trying to work on that for myself.
Yeah.
I've been going on my iPad more lately.
Oh.
Because it's bigger, and so I feel like I like expand to the size of the screen a little bit.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Before we get into the book, I do want to let you guys know that on the main channel tomorrow we will be live. We're going to be talking about Andor. So come hang out for that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do a full spoiler chat for all 24 episodes and Rogue One, which we're going to watch tonight.
Yeah.
So if you want to come talk about Andor, please come check that out back on the channel this show used to be on.
Yeah, and I've been working on a chatbot for this channel. For some reason, it looks like only one of the timer commands works, and I don't know why, but the bingo command should work. So if you type in command bingo, that should pull up the link. But there's supposed to be like commands for like Missy Mountain and stuff like that. That just, they're supposed to go like every like 20 to 30 minutes, and they're just not. So I'll maybe figure that out. We'll see. But if you have any commands that you would like to see added to the channel, just drop those in the Discord. I'll do my best.
Ours is saying they want the Rogue One rewatch reaction now that we've seen Andor.
You did mention that, yeah.
I brought it up as an idea because I do get it, right? Like it's almost a different movie now. Because there, you know, when you see Rogue One the first time, I do think there's an element of it where you're like, oh, Felicity Jones and Diego Luna have this like sexual chemistry that's, or maybe not sexual, but romantic.
But I think both, yeah.
There's a sexual tension between them.
Yeah,
I think is what I meant.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have sexual chemistry until you have sex. I think it's sexual tension, and then once you actually do it, it's chemistry.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I do wonder now that I know how deeply he loved Bix. What that does to it. Anyway, no spoilers. Let's move on to Dawnshard. Clarus, we've read another Brando Sando. Oh, one last thing, y'all. There is a sponsored Sunderfolk video on the main channel that is underperforming, and I think it's great. I put a lot of work into it. I wrote a script for the first time. We tried something new.
I think people don't like when we write scripts.
I think people don't like when we don't just sit and talk for an hour.
Yeah, like the comments on that video are like, this feels off, and we're like, that's because we actually put effort into it, but okay.
We didn't just turn the camera on.
And like blab. Yeah, I know. So,
but if you guys could give that a like, maybe drop a comment in that videos just to help us out. So that when we ask the company to pay their bill on next week, we can. It looks a little bit better.
Or give some feedback, because we were like, oh wow, this is great. We wrote down all our points, so we made sure that we got everything. You know, there wasn't any like a dead air or like extra tangents or anything like that. We were like, we made a great, concise, scripted video, and people were like, no, we don't like that, actually. We like when you just like go off on a tangent for 20 minutes and then maybe make half the points that you originally thought you might make.
Well, it is so funny, right? Like they're like, we don't like that you actually talked about the topic.
Yeah.
Why didn't you spend 6 minutes discussing a random musical theater reference that you thought of in the middle of watching this or playing this video game?
Yeah.
James Ross, it's just on the main channel. It should be just like right there. It's in videos.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually like, we genuinely love Sunderfolk.
Great
and
game.
We are going to be streaming that more on the main channel.
I think the plan is to do that on Sundays. So that's going to be really fun. We're going to call it Sunder Days.
Yeah, we can't do it this Sunday.
No, it's our Lord of the Rings rewatch.
Lord of the Rings marathon. Let's go.
Boop.
But yeah, Sunderfolk Sundays.
Sunder Days until we beat that game, because it's really fun. Let's talk about Dawnshard. Clarus, how do you feel? What do you think of Dawnshard now that you've seen it, read it?
Hey, I had a blast. It's a great little novella that's easy to digest, and also it really helped ease me back into the world of the Cosmere, because I feel like, yes, like we were doing Mistborn, but I felt like I had forgotten a lot of Stormlight Archive stuff. Like they were like Oath Gates, and I was like, Oath Gates. Right.
Well, you can literally watch it in the audiobook reactions from this week. We were like, could not remember what the Unmade were called.
No, that's not right.
We were like right. Midnight Mommy. My favorite part about the Midnight Mommy thing is that neither of us can remember what
the actual
her actual name is. We can only remember this weird joke that I came up with mid audiobook reaction.
Yeah.
Midnight Mommy.
Yeah, Midnight Mommy. That totally makes sense. So if we were to ask a fan, they'd be like, I'm sorry, the who? Like...
Well, and yeah, it's one of those funny things where our experience of the Cosmere, just in general, is so, is so this show.
Yeah.
That, like, if it's not the inside jokes of this show, I don't know how to talk. Like, I want to go to Dragonsteel in December, but I really feel like we would go around talking about the Cosmere and people would be like, what the fuck are you... What book series did you read?
It'd be like going to like the Wheel of Time convention and being like, yeah, Josh. Remember Josh?
Yeah, Jahar Narishma?
It'd be like, what?
Wait, you thought Tuon wasn't black? And so it is so funny how much my like experience of these books is this show.
Yeah.
And the jokes that the jokes that aren't about Brandon Sanderson's writing at all, that I'm trying to make the audience enjoy this show. Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling jokes, but then those jokes become such a big part of my experience of the books. Mm-hmm. It is the idea of like the author is dead, right? Where not Brandon Sanderson's alive, don't worry. For now. But
wow, okay.
The idea that once the book is in your hand, it becomes your experience of it and not really what the author was intending. Mm-hmm. You know, it's how people who lean far right can watch Star Wars and think that they're the rebels because that's their experience of it.
Yeah.
Not understanding at all what the author was trying to say.
Yeah.
And because your experience shapes the art, it almost doesn't matter what the author was trying to say in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
But this is just really interesting. For Dawnshard, though, actually, no, before Dawnshard, official ACM asked, is there any Kushiel's Chosen news?
Oh, yes.
We will get to it. We don't want to start it until after we get back from Vancouver. We have to go to this fantasy ball.
We have to go.
Clarus is a guest. I'm her +1. And so we're going to Vancouver to guest in this fantasy ball and to do a collab with some friends for some D&D stuff.
Yeah.
At the beginning of June.
Yeah.
And so we are going to do that. And then when we get back from that, we're going to do some continue with Kushiel's because I really want to get to it.
Yeah, I want to get to it as well. I think we'll probably do more than 2 splits this time. How many splits did we do last time?
I think we did 4. 3. No, we broke it into 3.
I was like, it wasn't that many.
Yeah,
so
3.
We do have to talk to our mods about what those splits might be. And if there's any interest in reactions, like audiobook reactions, we do have to figure that out. So there's some logistics stuff that we need to figure out first. But looks like probably end of June, July is the timeline for that.
I also think it's probably going to be bi-weekly. I think that we're going to do like our main book club every week in the Cosmere. I think that just doing it every week was too much. So I think doing basically going from 4 book clubs a month to 6 book clubs a month is kind of the thinking.
Yeah, because we also want to be live on the main channel more with like video gaming stuff, obviously Sunderfolk and things like that. So we're going to figure it out. And also our new podcast. And it's just, we're going to be really busy and we're really great at work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawnshard. I liked it. Mm-hmm. I like this book a lot. I thought it was very concise. Had some characters that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. I am not typically the biggest Lopen fan. I think that I've made my stance on him clear.
Yeah.
And I thought that in terms of the Lopen, this was the best he's ever been in the Cosmere.
Yeah.
Including the epilogue, which we'll get to, as Brandon Sanderson comes to terms with how other people feel about his characters. That
felt like a self-reflection of Brandon Sanderson.
It felt like Brandon Sanderson wrote an epilogue that's main purpose was to look himself in the mirror and ask his audience, am I not that funny?
Am I the drama?
You know what I mean? Like, it really did feel like a moment of Brandon Sanderson being acknowledging that his humor grates people sometimes a little bit.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the maturity in Brandon Sanderson to be able to acknowledge that.
We love self-awareness. Big fan.
But yeah, we'll talk more about why I like Lopen as we get through the book. Mm-hmm. I like the action in this. I liked Cord a lot.
Yeah.
I thought she was great.
Yeah.
Risen was great. I think that in terms of novellas, Brandon Sanderson, when he's focused,
Oh, yeah. Crushed
I think the books are so strong. It's why I think I liked Alloy of Law more than other people do. Because a lot of people say Alloy of Law is the weakest Mistborn Era 2 book.
Sure.
It's my favorite of the 3 that we've read just because...
It's focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he points himself at an objective, I think that Brandon Sanderson is a really strong writer. I think that where I start to get lost in his writing a little bit more than other people do is that when it feels like he's trying to do too much, I feel like I'm the rope of what I'm supposed to care about gets lost a little bit.
Right.
And in a book that's as concise as this, I never lost that feeling of like, oh, I understand where we're at. I understand what our characters care about. I understand what their goals are. I understand what the enemy's goals are.
Yeah.
They're not just sort of evil immortals that I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to get on board with. The every character in the book was fully realized, and I understood what they were doing and why they were doing it.
Yeah.
And so when they come to a head at the end, it's really exciting to watch those goals and those strengths and weaknesses butt up against one another.
Yeah.
And lead to a resolution that I know in the audiobook reaction for 18, I said like the book has to end in a way that makes me satisfied for me to like the whole book. And I really liked the ending of this book. I thought the final chapter was so satisfying. And then obviously the epilogue is fun.
I didn't know how he was going to pull it off. I was like, there's no time left.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Judah Canizarius, welcome to the Nerds Radiant. These words are accepted. As well, thank you for that super chat coming in on my birthday to say hi.
What's up? Happy birthday, Judah Canizarius.
Birthday.
I'm so glad you're finally 21 and can drink alcohol in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Don't go there, but like, you know, you can drink there.
Oh boy. But I can't stay long, so I'm also going to a wedding. We'll watch later. Can't wait for Rhythm of War. Glad you're back. We're glad you're here.
Congrats on getting married. That's crazy.
Yeah, you picked your birthday for your wedding. I'm kidding.
Well, here's the thing.
Have fun.
Here's the thing. You're never going to forget your anniversary.
Sure, yeah. That
I got
makes
married
it
on my
easy.
birthday. Like,
unless you can't remember your own birthday. Then you have a problem.
I'm so glad that our anniversary date is easy to remember.
Yeah.
9/20/20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. 9/20/20 is great.
Yeah.
We really crushed it with that.
I agree. I think it's a solid date.
Yeah. It's just easy to remember. We never celebrate it. Just because I remember when it is, we never do anything for our anniversary.
Well, we're always busy, and Dragon Con is right before it.
Well, no, it's because we're burnt out from your birthday, Dragon Con, and Fan Expo.
Yeah.
And so by the time we get to our wedding anniversary, we're always like, what if we...
Or we're always moving in the fall.
Wedding anniversary plan. What if we stay home?
Chill.
And we intentionally don't work for 24 hours.
Crazy. What a gift. Laganthe? Wow.
Laganthe drill.
I probably fucked that up.
Welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
Welcome.
Come on in, friends. Mm-hmm. And we're back to chapter 1. No, prologue. There's a prologue. We start this book. We're adrift at sea. Not adrift. We are sailing. What?
Matt Adder's like, you both forgot it last year. We saw it live on book club.
Did we forget it last year?
Yeah. We were like, oh, right. It's our anniversary. I
just think that neither of us has ever made a big deal of it. And so...
Well, because we show that we love each other every day.
Sure.
I just think that like some people and some people's relationships, they like wait for those moments.
Yeah.
And we don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, anniversaries are weird to me. But I also like don't love celebrating my birthday. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Or I don't put effort into celebrating my birthday. When other people make a big deal out of my birthday, I love that and I cherish that.
Yeah.
I just would like never throw myself a birthday party. You know what I mean? Like, and I never have.
I was like, let's do something for your birthday, and you're like, nah. I'm like, all right.
Well, no, I was just like, I'm not going to put I don't know. I feel weird being like, it's my birthday. You all have to come to this bar, and we're going to we're going to pay this establishment thousands in liquor so that you all can toast to me one time. I don't know. I like celebrating your birthday.
Why mine and not yours?
Because it's yours and it's you, and I like celebrating you.
Okay.
I don't like celebrating me. I don't even like this. This bothered people so much when I was like acting full time, and they'd be like, "All right, guys, let's do bows," and I'd be like, "Oh God," and they're like, "What? You don't? It's the best part. They clap for us," and I was like, "I don't. I want the play to end, and I go to my dressing room and leave the theater."
You don't like when book club claps for us?
I do clap. Okay, wait. Do you guys
I'm
clap
sure,
for this show?
Yeah, when we hit the like live stream end button, I'm sure that they sit there and like clap.
Do you think we've ever gotten a standing ovation for book club?
I'm sure a lot of people stand up out of their chairs when we're done. Yeah. To go do other things.
James Ross says they clap every time. Yeah, I'm not a big. I don't like bows. My favorite show ever, Jesus Christ Superstar, ended with Jesus on the cross. He dies, right?
Yeah.
And much to some Christians' chagrin, he doesn't get resurrected in the show, as if because the play ends there, the resurrection didn't happen. I don't know.
That's where time ends, actually. Yeah.
And we just left, and I was like, this is the best.
Yeah.
We could hear them clapping from the dressing room, but we didn't, like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Prologue. Yalb. Do you remember Yalb?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I was like, I know this name has been told to me before. I figured it out. Like,
yeah.
It took me a minute. That's what I mean. This book was actually like a nice like ease back into the Cosmere and the Stormlight of it all.
Spencer D says Smut Corner is mostly clapping, if you know what I mean. Clapping them cheeks.
It better be. Why do you think I keep trying to do squats? Getting caked up.
Yeah. Yalb is on a boat. Yeah.
And it's going fast.
He's got some flippy floppies.
He's got a nautical themed Pashmina Afghan.
And they come upon an empty sailing vessel, the First Dreams, which has just returned from Akina, which is an island that is surrounded by a perpetual storm. And if that sounds like the beginning of King Kong, you are correct.
It didn't, but I believe you.
Kong's Skull Island.
Sure.
Go watch it. It's a good movie. Not right now. Finish book club first.
Don't go anywhere.
I did love that there is a island in the sea that has a like secret underground tunnel that it housed a kaiju battle.
Yeah.
And I literally had to be like, did Brandon Sanderson watch Kong Skull Island and then write a novella? Like, was he inspired by...
No, this trope is like literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't sail to an island because there's a storm around it. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sure that goes back to fucking ancient Greek myths.
Oh, no. Yeah, that part of it. Yeah. I found it funny.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Yalb, they find this boat. I thought Yalb was going to be a much bigger part of this book.
Oh, no, he's just there for the prologue to introduce the boat.
We never see him again. But yeah, the chapter 1.
It was the Smoke Lady's boat. Yeah.
Yeah, from that one interlude. One time.
I was like, I know I read it somewhere. I couldn't remember if it was a chapter or an interlude or whatever. But yes, where she's
it was
like,
definitely an interlude.
Yeah, it definitely was. She was like dying. Yeah.
Yeah, where she turned to smoke. Yeah.
Very cool.
The Soulcasters. They didn't find her Soulcaster though.
No.
Interestingly.
I don't think so, at least.
I don't remember it being one of the ones described in the cave, but also the ones in the cave were old ones that hadn't been used. I wonder what happened to her Soulcaster. Chapter 1, Risen. Hey, look. It's this lady. Remember when she was just an interlude character and now she's grown all the way to novella character?
I love that for her.
She was also pretty important at the end of Oathbringer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. That whole, like, the whole Ruby thing was pretty integral to capturing the thrill.
Risen is just running shit. She has become the tip-top commander of this merchant fleet that she's slowly amassing. It only has one ship. It's not technically a fleet yet, but it will be. And Risen is bemoaning the fact that her poor Chiri, lovely little superpower mosquito bug, has fallen ill. Not having the best time.
Doesn't seem to be doing too well. Very low energy, weird like lightening of the like carapace. Like it does not look like she's having a good time. Yeah.
So naturally, Risen has taken Chiri to the animal doctors.
Yeah, and half of them are like, I don't know what this is, and half of them are like, I've never seen one before.
Well, I think that all of them though go, this isn't a crab.
Yeah.
Like that's no, but I mean they only being an animal doctor in this world means you're a crab doctor.
No, they have chickens.
Not in Thalena.
People travel with chickens.
This isn't the fucking white people place. What's that place called?
The white people?
Yeah,
where...
Shinovar. This isn't Shinovar.
There's no white people here. That's a lie.
Thalida. There's no white people. Every time, you know that the scene from New Girl where I've never seen it either. But there are some famous bits from New Girl that even if you've never watched the show, you've seen. And the one is Schmidt. I love that I know his name, even though I've never watched the show. But the one is Schmidt. He's talking to this little black girl, and she's like, "A white man came in here," and he's like, "A white man? No!"
I've never seen that.
Every time I see that clip now, my first thought is our Shin Man. Oh my god, I'm blanking on names so hard. Seth Zunsan Villano.
Yeah.
Every time I see Schmidt be like, "A white man? No!"
Wow, you love peeking that mic.
Oh, whatever. They can fucking deal with it.
That one might have been a little rough for headphone users. I'm so sorry.
That clip to me is about Seth Zunsan Villano now, and I'll never forget it.
Love that.
So yeah, Risen has her little ship, her little enterprise, and she has this opportunity to take her ship to Akana and find out what's going on. Someone is like, "Hey, Chiri Chiri needs to go to Akana."
Oh, yes. The guy who she met on the island when she fell, their people are here to meet with the Thalana Queen, right? The Thalana Queen. So he's there and he comes to visit. She writes him and she's like, "Wow, you showed up fast." And he's like, "Nah, bitch, I was already here."
But so also, like, showed up fast
hi.
now with Oathgates and flying people is like such a different.
True.
Although there is no Oathgate on the Reshi Isles because it is the back of a crab.
Yes, that would make things difficult.
Could you imagine if that giant fucking carapace had an Oathgate? They like etch an Oathgate into the shell of this giant thing.
God. Portable Oathgate. You never know exactly where it's going to be.
And so, yeah, Talik arrives in town. It's an interesting little bit of world building for the main series here, where we get the understanding that the Reshi Isles are getting sort of dragged into the conflict and are being pulled into conversations with the Thalana Queen on behalf of Dalinar's, United Nations, because there is a concern at many different levels that the fight will eventually come to everybody's shores. Yeah. And so bringing them on board now just benefits everybody in the future. And so even though this book doesn't touch on the main conflict with not the Forsaken, with the
Unmade.
No.
The Fused.
The Fused with Odium. God, it has been so... Because we did the 3 Mistborn Era 2 books in between.
It feels like so long ago. I might honestly have to re-listen to Oathbringer before we can start Rhythm of War. That's the next
Rhythm.
Nope.
Yep.
Yes.
This is a professional enterprise. We're so bad at this.
We're great. That's why you're here. You don't like it when we script our videos, so this is what you get, okay?
I don't like that you wrote your thoughts down. I need you to just sit there and look at each other, hoping one of you remembers the word.
We need the unhinged ADHD tangents, or we riot.
So she's like, well, Risen's talking with Talik, and she's like, well, Navani, this fucked me up.
Oh, yeah, the queen.
I was listening to the book, and they were like, yeah, Queen Navani. And I was like, no, did I miss a book? Yasna became queen. And then I remembered that Navani's queen of Urthiru. Yeah. Yasna's queen of Alethkar.
Yes.
And that's what that is. And I'm just dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, the opening chapter was like Queen Navani. And I literally stopped the audiobook and was like, what is happening?
Chad has led me astray. I read this in the wrong order. And this thing, we don't know. We're just trusting you guys.
That's the thing. I don't know. I'm like, what essay, what interlude did I not read?
Could you imagine? We're like, all right, chat, what do we read next? And they're like, you're going to read this. And it's just the most random, out of order essay or book or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we would do it because we'd be like, yeah, we trust you guys. Mistake. Yeah. Absolute mistake.
And Bryce says, you are currently reading X. The last book in the series was X. The next book is X. The main characters are X, Y, and Z. Basically, it's Dune. We haven't been Duned in so long.
I'm sure we can find something in this book where we got doomed.
No. In this?
You're right. We're on an ocean in an island, not in a desert.
There's too much water to be duned.
Yeah.
You can't get duned on the ocean.
There's no drugs. Brandon Sanderson doesn't really do drugs in his book either, so.
In the book. He does them rampantly in his life.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The piles of cocaine at Dragonsteel are legendary.
Damn. Yeah, that's what they use for the snow at the ball, actually. They just, like, dust it over the ballroom. Johnny Coleman! These words are accepted. Welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
My favorite conversation I've ever had with Brandon Sanderson was when he turned to me and was like, David, what would be the cost?
He called you David.
To film.
Oh.
Yeah, he calls me David. It's very weird. He knows my dad, right? So it's that weird.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they go back.
Sorry.
I know. Well, you know. We had this conversation, me and Brandon, where he was like, how much would it cost to fill an artificial snow machine with cocaine? And I had to do the math for him.
You had to do math?
I know.
Damn.
I know.
Better you than me.
Well, here's the thing. It was fine, mostly because I am actually pretty good at math. And also, if I was off by a few $1,000s, it doesn't matter. Because do you know how much money that man has? Do you know how much money Brandon Sanderson has?
I can take a look at the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has all of it. He has all the money.
He has all. No. That's the Mormon Church that has all of it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I conflate the two sometimes.
It's different. Very different. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat. Chaos Gremlin energy soothes my soul. You're welcome.
No.
You're fucking welcome.
And so,
Chadley, welcome to the Nerds Radiant.
Risen is like, I'm gonna go talk to the Queen, and we're gonna set off. Risen goes to Urethru, and she climbs up in that urethra. They are building platforms on the outside of the urethra to do something.
Yeah, any theories? Because
I think they're building like planes.
What?
So my theory is that the goal of those platforms is to be able to fly. And the only reason I think that is because Mistborn Era 2 has blimps. And I think that as we head towards the inevitable, like, the meeting of the 4 Dawnshards that I think is going to happen at some point in the future, now that we know what a Dawnshard is, I think that we're going to see Brandon Sanderson slowly bring the different technologies of his universes into a similar enough place that they can fight. And so I do think that the platforms are some kind of flying machine that is being created either to be powered by a Windrunner or a Squire, just so that there's an equivalent flying machine in Scadrial as there is to Roshar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I think.
That seems insane, but...
Chat's dropping popcorn. It's been so long since I've seen popcorn in chat.
And some crabs.
Yeah, James, thank you. James Blythe, thank you for dropping crabs in chat. You know, there's so many fewer crabs in human life now because so many people shave their pubes. So it is nice to at least have them in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, people still get lice. Same thing.
Are they the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I think they're two different things. I think they're like cousins. You know what I mean?
First cousins? Like the
no,
Lopen and Huey are cousins?
No,
or...
more like Lopen and the Reshi are cousins. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Lopen and Huyo are actual cousins. Lopen and the Reshi are cousins.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now you're getting it.
I don't know. I thought
that was a line from the book.
I thought they were the same.
So we get there's a big chunk in the middle of this book that is about Brandon Sanderson writing his characters trying to figure out how to use Fabriels to make wheelchairs better.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Was it?
I mean, I think because it's from the perspective of Risen.
Mm-hmm. The emotional element of it is great. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I mean. Like, the science of it is whatever Brandon Sanderson decides is the science of it, right? Like, and that's fine and dandy. But the experimenting process, I think, is fun, and the emotional stakes for the character is also fun and a great way to frame that kind of research.
I'm glad you enjoy it more than I do. I find the like fictional science conversations of the Fabriels to not be it is one of the elements of this book that I don't find the most riveting.
Sure.
And I want to like touch on it briefly because I don't want to talk about it every time it comes up in the book. I just found it to be a lot, and I don't want this series to get bogged down into experiments on Fabriels to beat Odium. I think that my mind glazes over a bit, and I kind of just wait until they come up with what the answer is, because none of it's real science anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of like reading them say a bunch of things to me that I'm like, sure, right, I guess.
Yeah.
And then eventually, all of his experimentation scenes to me feel like they have the same structure, which is they'll just say a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to remember. And then at the end, he kind of like summarizes what was discovered, and I read it almost waiting for that piece of the conversation.
Yeah, which I think is fair, and I think that I do too as well, because like I'm not a scientist, and so sometimes when he is explaining the how, I'm like, yeah, sure, if you say so. Like it's not really something that I can follow always. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Steve Zito says, lol, that's funny. When you first read about Fabriels, that is what you were most interested in that they didn't get into. No, it's
you
not
like how they work. It's just more the like experimenting to like figure it out.
Well, yeah, it's the process of like spending time watching them fuck around with them mm-hmm. that I just haven't been the most riveted by. Yeah. Partially because we're never in the mind of the person doing the experimenting. We're always in the mind of someone watching it. And I think that's why I don't find it that riveting.
Oh, like, interesting.
I think that if we were in the mind of the ardent, what's her name? Rushu, thank you. Yeah. I think that if we were in her mind watching her do the experimenting and it was her perspective, I would enjoy it more. But oftentimes, the perspective of the person in the scene experiencing the experimentation is mm-hmm. Dalinar. And Navani's just explaining things to Dalinar like, as they happen.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
And in this case, Risen is doing it's Risen's POV. And so I'm with Risen where I'm like, yeah, me too. I don't really get it.
Yeah.
And I think that creates like this artificial barrier between me and the moment that I haven't really been able to overcome in some of those scenes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's not that they're bad.
Yeah.
And as they play with the, like when we get to the canoe at the end of the book, the air canoe, I do think there are moments where the Fabriels are interesting.
Oh, yeah.
In the way that they're functioning. I would rather watch the experimenter experiment than watch someone doing an experiment. Because it makes me invested in the emotional stakes of, is Risen going to get a wheelchair? Is Risen going to get freedom?
Yeah.
While at the same time feeling a little bit distanced from the moment.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I couldn't quite put my finger on in this book, but just between Oathbringer and the end of Words of Radiance to now, I feel like we're getting almost like the number of scenes where we're just getting like conversations about Fabriels is increasing as these books go on.
Sure.
And I'm noticing that they're not the most interesting to me.
Okay.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
They're just the moments in the books where I kind of go, I check out a little bit.
Okay.
And I kind of wait for the book to just kind of tell me what they've discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Al Gonzalez, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. We're going to have so many members on this channel.
So many members. Victor Sana says, so this is just a yearning for more Navani POVs. I would love more Navani POVs. I would be very into that. Yeah.
Love her POVs a lot of the time. Like, yeah. I think she's such a great character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lumiv says, maybe that's just a way to show they're researching it without the whole book being about the research itself. I think that's definitely what it is. And I completely agree with that interpretation. I just am noticing that as we're getting more of these scenes and the Fabriels are starting to become more and more a part of the every like interaction of these books with the watches and I would like to be in the POV of the character who's excited by the success of the experiment a little bit more.
Fair. Okay. Yeah.
And that's last I want to talk about that. Queen Fen is like, hey girl, we absolutely want you to go on this mission, Risen. We want you to take your boat We want you to take a couple Windrunners. We also want you to take this Horn-Eater Lady and an Ardent. What?
Oh, I thought that was Navani.
Doesn't she meet with Queen Fen first?
I don't
and
actually
then Navani?
think she meets Queen Fen. I don't think Queen Fen shows up in this book.
Queen Fen gives the royal decree.
Yes. Because because
Right.
Risen is like, hey, something to inspire these people to go on a potentially cursed voyage.
Yeah. She meets with Navani.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Queen Fen was there, but she's not.
No, she's not actually present. But Navani's like, we got Windrunners for protection. Everyone's going to be paid really well. Like, this is what we're looking for. We have a lot of questions about this island, and we're worried about the strategical downside of the enemy, like, having access to this. Like, are they there? There's so many unanswered questions. So, yeah, they're going to take Risen's boat. Pretty fancy fucking boat.
Yeah.
It has, like, self-bilging and, like, it has weights inside the hull, I think it said, that, like, move around in storms so that it's basically unsinkable. And I was like, that's probably how ships today in our world work, but I didn't know that. So I was like, wow, like, my mind is blown.
Yeah, it's really interesting technologies that basically that aren't that new. Right. But the idea that you have a weight, basically that we also use them in skyscrapers to keep skyscrapers from swaying too much in heavy winds. Basically, the weight kind of, as the building shifts, the weight kind of counteracts the shift so that the building stays standing. Yeah. And we have the same kind of technology in ships. Yeah, it's a really cool ship. It's fancy. Fancy as fuck. Chapter 3. We get into our first POV with the character that is the Windrunner, the lead Windrunner on the assignment, the Lopen.
The Lopen. The Lopen kidnaps Prince and...
I think it's the king.
No, it's not. It's his son. It's the guy that talked to Risen.
Sure, okay.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you guys live high up on crabs, so you gotta love heights. So I'm gonna fly you... to the top of Urithiru, and you're gonna like it, right?
This is
the difference in Lopen from beginning to end of book is interesting.
Yeah, well, and what's so fascinating about this moment is like, from like a physics point of view, there's got to be some element of the lashings that, because your whole body is lashed at the same time. This is such an inane point, but I find it interesting. The lashing must affect your whole body equally, which would dampen the like effects of this change in momentum, right? Because if the lashing were to be only a certain part of your body, the whiplash of this moment would kill him, would like shred his spine.
Yeah, I think you lash one object and a person is considered an object.
Right, but this gets into the D&D question of what is an object, right? Like, is a mountain an object? Is such an interesting kind of...
Yeah, you can lash to a mountain.
Sure, but then there are spells that like target one object, and you're like, well, no, that's too big to be an object, right? Like, what is an object is such a fascinating scale. Because, like, is a house an object? Or is, like, one of the boards in the wall and of the room an object? But in this case, I do think the lashing, because he just gets fucking yeeted. This poor man thinks that he's going to, like, a dignitary conversation and just gets fucking Angry Bird style catapulted into the sky. Yeah. And the Lopen is like, this is a totally normal thing that nobody will have a problem with.
Yeah, these people obviously love heights because they live on top of giant crabs. Like, what is the problem here? I don't see an issue.
I had an issue, and it was that I was like, fuck this book. I do not want to spend a whole book with Lopen bullshit. All right. And I'm so glad this is the... And I'm saying that because this is the only moment. Mm-hmm. And there is a reason for it. It's not just because Brandon Sanderson thinks this is funny. Yeah. And when you read this book in its entirety, this moment is great. Yeah. Because you understand where the book's going. Yeah. The book had to start with something like this in order for the end of the book to matter. Mm-hmm. because he doesn't really do anything too fucked up the rest of the book. This is kind of the most fucked up thing he does in the novel.
Yeah.
So there had to be something before the mission starts that doesn't really affect his relationship with the crew.
Yeah.
But that is egregious enough that at the end of the book, you're still kind of thinking about it so that that end of the book hits. And so this moment is great because of what it does for the novel.
Yeah.
But it made me really nervous. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh no, am I about to read because this is, we call this a novella. It's 21 chapters with prologue and epilogue. It's a fucking book.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The audiobook is over 7 hours long. This isn't like some 2-hour read, right? And this, I think this is longer than Morning Glory Milking Farm. You know what I mean? And so,
I don't know. It did not feel as long.
Well, yeah, that's because it has pacing, there's a conflict in it that you care about.
Yeah.
And so there was that hesitation in me where I was like, fuck, I'm about to hate the Lopen for the next 7 hours.
Yeah.
Fuck this. And then I didn't. And I was so glad that I didn't. I'm so glad I was able to enjoy the rest of the book and have a great time and really really enjoyed Dawnshard. I think this book is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But God, I was nervous.
Well, and Lopen gets incredibly lucky here that this is taken well by, I can't remember his name. I know it starts with the T. Sorry, chat. Talik, yeah.
Yeah.
He gets very lucky that Talik is chill with it. And that Talik appreciates the Lopen's
Stream Elements in the chat wrote, "Thank you for understanding."
I told you, the timers don't work for some reason. So that's only half of a message. There's a message that's supposed to go up every 30 minutes or so that says the mods are asked to delete spoilers and they err on the side of caution. Thank you for understanding. And
that's so funny that it just says thank you for understanding.
I don't understand why it's not working.
Yeah.
I genuinely have no idea why only part of one of the timers that I set up is working. And
we'll figure it out later.
It just drives me bonkers because there's absolutely no logical reason behind it because they are set up the exact same way. And I fucking hate stream elements.
Yeah, Chris Pilkington says it's not a novel unless you can get a concussion from falling asleep reading. Can you get a concussion from falling asleep with any paperback?
No.
So then, Chris, that can't be the metric.
Yeah.
Even the paperback for fucking Way of Kings wouldn't fucking give me a concussion. I am thick-headed, though.
Yeah, you'd have to hit someone really hard with it.
Nicholas Reed says it's about 10,000, I'm assuming that's words. 10,000 words too long to fit the official SFWA definition of a novella. What is the funniest possible meaning of SFWA?
The
Sex Fighters Writing Association. Sex Fighters is pretty good. It's got to be Writing Association, right?
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure it's the San Francisco Writing Association. It's
probably Subtle Female Warriors Association. Yeah.
And they feel like they need to chime in on
novella length.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, women, am I right?
The Science Fiction Writers Writing Association?
Wait, but why would a novella be different length if you're science fiction? If it's
James Ross came up with safe for work ass. According to Instagram, there's no such thing as safe for work ass anymore, so.
No. You can only show one cheek. If you show a second cheek with any amount of crack, that's, not eligible for recommendation.
I really like Embrise's some folks with ankles.
If you have ankles, you have a vote on the length of a novella.
If you have ankles, you have to pay dues to some folks with ankles. This political message was brought to you by some folks with ankles.
But only some of them.
So if you lose one leg and you have one leg,
it's only ankles, not ankle.
You no longer have to pay dues, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because you are now a folk with ankle.
A folk with ankle.
Yeah. AFWA.
Sure.
There's not a lot of membership to AFWA.
No, it's very small.
They donate a lot of money, though, to lobby for not
For
having to buy
levitating
shoes in
wheelchairs.
twos.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, if your feet are different size. Wait, what does ankles have to do with? Oh, I understand.
If you've only got one ankle, you've only got one foot.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How would that work, Clarus?
Well,
Walk us through having one ankle.
if the ankle wasn't there, but the shin and the foot were, and they were just attached without a joint, it'd be a foot that, like, didn't bend, right? Yeah.
What would attach them, Clarus?
What do you mean?
How would the foot be attached?
The foot would attach to the shin,
With
but there would
super glue? Like
no, like it'd be fused together so it doesn't bend like the ankle joint does. Like there would be no joint to connect them. It would be like having your shin bone connected to your shin bone, and it's just like one long bone, but
your
at an
shin
angle.
bone connected to your shin bone?
Yeah. It made
The
sense.
shin bone's connected to the shin bone.
Yeah, it makes complete sense, okay?
This is so random. But now I'm thinking, like, if you only have one leg, can you buy a single shoe? Or do you have to buy two shoes and just throw one away? Like,
Yeah, well, they can't change the price. You think that your fucking, like, minimum wage employee is like, yeah, let me just adjust the price of these Jordans for you.
No, but could you, like, contact the factory and, like, I guess you would probably have a prosthetic leg that the foot on the prosthetic leg would be sized to be the size of your
You would probably put a
foot.
shoe on that.
Yeah. And so you would still have two shoes. This is so
It's
stupid.
too bad that, like, feet are, like...
Zeth only has shin bones.
God damn it.
Nicholas Reed, that's very funny.
It's too bad that, like, feet are not symmetrical, because if you could just buy two shoes to use for the same foot,
Yes.
like, you would have shoes that lasted double the length of time.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
If you had one foot, anyway. It doesn't matter.
Now I'm just thinking about, like, do you think that there are people with prosthetic legs who have, like, a foot attachment so that they can wear high heels? I think that's a thing in Grey's Anatomy. I think I'm thinking about this because I think that is a thing in Grey's Anatomy, that she gets, like a Barbie foot so that she can wear a high heel.
With, like, an arch. Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
That checks out, yeah.
We're on chapter 3.
Crushing it. You were like, it's going to be a short book club today.
Despite the insanity of Lopen throwing this guy into the air, Talik comes to an understanding of Lopen and sees that he's a genuine guy.
Yeah.
Which is really, really generous of him. I think that Talik really goes out of his way here to save the scene.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Lopen is just very lucky that this goes well and that he's a chill dude.
Yeah.
Because this could have gone very poorly.
Mm-hmm. And so we they find
Kaladin's like, what the fuck, man? And Lopen's like, what? He likes heights.
Yeah, no, Kaladin's right here.
Oh, yeah.
Lopen, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so Kaladin sends Lopen and Huyo on the expedition with Risen and is like, you gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
And Lopen is like, hey, I really want to fuck Rock's daughter.
Yeah.
So can I take
Can you
her
send her
to see?
along? Well, because Kaladin's like, I should send Rock because he can see Spren, right?
Yeah.
And Lopen is like, oh, no, he's totally busy. He's like really busy with his anniversary. Like you can't. No, sorry, actually, you're gonna have to send his daughter.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Which we later find out is because Lopen wants to sleep with Rock's daughter, which I have a problem with.
Or he wants to date her, you know.
Those two things typically go hand in hand.
Usually, but not always.
The one thing I don't have a problem with is Lopen being a short king, but enjoying tall women. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Look,
he's like, women should be tall.
Tall women need love too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not giving them that love because my wife is, barely above legal height.
You can give it to the other tall women.
I can.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with wanting to date your friend's daughter. And here's the thing. I get that Bridge 4's ages are all over the place.
Uh-huh.
But that's your friend. Like, if Lopen dies because Rock kills him now, I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Nope.
You shouldn't date your friend's daughter.
You think that is a murderable offense?
Absolutely.
Death penalty?
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
That just means that you have no trust in your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair.
Right. Like, if you
absolutely.
have good friends, you'd be like, yeah, I'd be okay with you dating my daughter. But if you have friends that you don't like that suck, that's probably a reflection of you, and you need to, like, figure out why you suck and why you surround yourself with people who also suck.
No. Wait. We need to go back.
Oh, yeah.
I was joking about the death penalty thing. I want to be clear. However, I don't think that the amount that you trust your friends matters.
I do.
I don't. Don't date my fucking daughter. You're my friend. I think that that's weird kind of no matter what.
I mean, I think that the first issue is the age difference. How many people are 20 years age difference apart? Like 20, 25 years.
Oh,
in age
100%.
difference.
And
Right.
this is my first problem with him is how old is Lopen and how old is Cord? Right? That is my first problem.
All we know is that Lopen is a few years older than her, and that's it.
Right. And if I'm Rock, I'm like, hey, buddy, you're my friend. Don't date my daughter. That makes our relationship... you're changing our relationship.
Maybe Rock is like, you'd be a really great son-in-law. I'd like you to be part of the family.
I don't think...
I want to be more than cousins. You know, I want to be more than...
anyone meets the Lopen and goes, you'd be a really great son-in-law. You know what I want my daughter to deal with forever? Your bullshit.
Okay, but like, when do we ever see like Rock and the Lopen just hang out? Like, they're friendly, they're friends because they're all in Bridge 4. You know, they've trauma bonded, but like, are they really like hanging out that much? Like, are they that close of friends?
I don't think it matters. I don't, and look, maybe this is a me thing, but like I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of dating your friends' daughters. I'm gonna come out hard against it. I don't care if the ages are fine. Even if the ages are fine, if you're friends with a guy and you're bros, you go to war, you fight gods together, and then you go home, that guy should not have to watch you then be like, hey, good night, I'm gonna go.
Okay, so what if your daughter wants to date your friend? Are you going to tell your daughter, no, fuck you, what you want doesn't matter?
Yeah, like 1,000% yes.
If she's an adult?
I think
This is why you're not a dad.
I think it is completely acceptable to be like, hey, that's my friend, and I would appreciate it if you would not drastically impact my life.
But what if they fall in love?
Then it's going to get awkward, and that sucks. You know what I mean? But they're not in love. Lopen is manipulating the chain of command in order to push her onto a suicidal mission to an island so that he can hit on his friend's daughter. This isn't like we're going to go on a coffee date to fucking, like, you know, second cup. We're going to get some frozen hot chocolates and have a cute little moment. He's like, I want, Kaladin, I want you to send Rock's daughter on this potentially fatal mission with me so that I can impress Rock's daughter and maybe start dating. They're not together. He is just an older man using his position of superpower magic knighthood to get this woman to go to sea, to go to an island that nobody has ever come back from alive so that he can impress her and hit on her. That is... And look, I want to be really clear. I get that she wants to do it. She's all about that adventure. She's down to clown. And I'm so proud of her. She rocks, right? Not just because she is young Rock.
Jesus Christ.
I almost kind of want them to call her She-Rock. You know, in a She-Hulk kind of a situation.
Oh, I thought you meant She-Ra, and I was like, what?
No, She-Rock. But if this was like Marvel in like the 1980s, the comic version of this would call her She-Rock.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the fact that she wants to do it, and I think that's awesome. I do think that bringing a woman on a nearly suicidal mission in order to try and date her when she is your friend's daughter is just all kinds of fucked up.
Here's the thing. They only have two choices. It's Rock or it's Rock's daughter.
That's not true.
Yeah, those are the only two people we know that can see Spren.
I mean, all of the Unkalaki can, though.
Nope.
Wait.
Nope.
Are we sure about that?
Yep. Rock is special, and his daughter is special in the fact that they can see Spren.
No. All Unkalaki can see Spren.
No.
Yes.
No.
Chat, back me up on this, please.
Nope.
Rock special. Wait, so not this whole time I thought all horn eaters see spread, and you guys are telling me that's not true?
Yeah, that's not true in the slightest. It's a gift. 'Tis a gift.
What kind of fucking gift is it?
You get good eyes. I don't know. Like, your eyes work a little better than everyone else's.
Guys,
Enjoy.
how many magic systems are in this fucking world?
Well, that's not magic. It's like how women can see color better than men. Like the spectrum of light.
So they are
or
mutants.
some
Yes,
shit.
me monk. They are mutants.
Their eyes just let in different spectrums of light, and the spren show up on a different light spectrum.
If you got 2120 vision, you start seeing nature spirits.
Damn. Can I have LASIK to get 2120 vision?
Chris Pilkington agrees with you here. He says, I disagree with Nerdy on this. They are age appropriate. Rock likes Lopen, thinks he's a good guy. Why not want his daughter dating a good, if weird guy? I don't know if you've met the Lopen. He's not weird. He's too much.
Yeah, but you're also too much.
Wow. No, don't you fucking dare.
The setup makes it very hard to touch you.
Unfucking believable.
It's why Lopen, or Nerdy doesn't like the Lopen that much.
Because he's mean.
He sees too much of himself.
Yeah. If I was Mexican.
Sure. Yeah. That's where this is going.
You know who is the Lopen? Danny.
Oh my God.
You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
And he wouldn't have a problem with me saying that. Anyway. Oh my God.
What?
I don't know. One of our YouTube shorts just got muted and unlisted.
I think that was one of mine.
Oh, it's because you're too sexual.
No, it had something to do with the sound.
Ah.
I don't know. We'll figure that out later, I guess.
Love that for us. Anyway, where are we in the book? I don't know. They go on an expedition. We find out that so we're going on this expedition. Risen shows up to the boat, the ship, and finds out that the ship's pet was murdered.
Yeah. Yep, dead sky eel. I also love that they call it
Screech.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that has to be like
Come From Away
Newfoundland reference, but
No,
I
it
don't know.
can't be.
No.
I think that this book predates Come From Away.
No, not Come From Away, but like Screech it exists pre that musical.
I mean, to Canadian. I don't know
Sure.
where Brandon Sanderson would pick up the reference from.
Brandy loves Canada.
Like,
actually.
I knew about Screech because of, like, drinking songs and being an alcoholic, but, like...
Just seems like a very ship piratey thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I could be wrong. But, yeah, the ship's...
Screech just makes me think Saved by the Bell. That's fair.
Oh, yeah. The ship's sky eel has been murdered. They also call the crow's nest the eel's nest, which
you know...
very funny. I thought it'd be funny if they called it the chicken nest. That would have fucking sent me.
Or the chicken coop.
That would have sent me. But yeah.
He's up in the chicken coop.
Yeah.
That is funny. Actually, I like that a lot.
But yeah, the pet's been murdered, which that's a really bad. Well, okay, they don't think it's been murdered right away, but they're like, it's dead. That's not a good sign.
We find out there's a lot of ship politics that are very fascinating to me. I love the idea that she owns the ship and is the like leader of the ship, but is not allowed to steer the ship.
No, and she's not the captain.
But her Babs was allowed to steer the ship because they respected him.
Yes.
And so I was like, at the end of this book, this bitch is going to steer this ship.
Yeah, she's going to earn that privilege.
Mm-hmm. But she's not allowed to ask. It has to be offered.
Yeah, and she feels a bit of weirdness with the crew, right? Like, something's not clicking. She knows that something's a little off and that she needs to prove herself to them.
Yeah.
She doesn't feel that crew camaraderie yet.
Well, and I think that, like, you know, as two very able-bodied people, I do want to be careful about how we discuss Risen in this book. You know, I just want to acknowledge that, like, that her handicap in this book is such a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I feel one thing I do think is handled very well is I think that Brandon Sanderson does an excellent job of discussing her handicap in a way that never felt gratuitous, either in its being a problem or in her finding solutions to it. You know, this didn't fall into the sort of like super crip trope that people talk about, where it's like my disability is actually my superpower, which can feel a little gross sometimes.
Yeah.
And I felt that he did a really good job of acknowledging the emotional difficulties of being in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And what it means with this relationship with the crew, where they're looking, you know, in a lot of ways, in any emergency situation, she is much more of a liability in the at sea, right?
Yeah.
Than she would be if she could walk.
Yeah.
And there is a practical reality to that the book acknowledges without being gross about it ever. And I thought that Brandon Sanderson towed that line very well from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think that the way The Risen is written is very authentic and real.
Yeah.
And never feels like magical and unnecessary way to make up for the fact that she's paralyzed in any way. Like, you know, it's her authentic experience of like how she's come to terms with it and how far she still needs to go, right? Like, because it sometimes some days are better than others, and some days are still like a struggle, right? And I really loved reading this just because I felt her experience was very inspiring. Yeah.
Well, it's just such a far cry from Elantris, right? When we were like, what the fuck is this super autism? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I think that it's a really lovely growth that Brandon Sanderson's writing has shown us.
Yeah.
From at times feeling a little bit gratuitous early on to now where I feel like he's really found a way to... He clearly is very interested in writing about mental health and physical disability and about the kind of overcoming of those not problems, but those realities of life.
Yeah.
And I think that because he's so interested in it, he had to get better at it or else it would be a drag.
Yeah.
And I think that he genuinely did. I think he improved a lot. And this book shows it in a big, bad way.
Yeah.
The Screech, the sky eel being dead, unfortunately presents some problems for the crew as they're very superstitious. And Brandon Sanderson, despite being a Mormon, makes fun of superstitions a lot in this book. He also believes that a man looked through rocks at a golden tablet and read an ancient book that said that black people deserved it. And so let's just call out the realities of Mormonism real quick. But
No, you're good. Yeah.
It's okay. In 1978, God changed his mind about that. So
Yeah.
But so we get a lot of like talking about how superstitions are dumb, but the crew has them, and so Risen is immediately on her back foot, or I guess back wheel, about the situation, and I think starts off really strong here by being like, look, like this is gonna be a dangerous mission.
Yeah.
People are already being superstitious about it. Let's not force them. And so we're going to give everyone the out if they don't want to go. And if that means that we don't have a big enough crew,
right,
we'll delay and we'll find a crew. And 3 members of the crew stay behind. Can you imagine being one of those 3 people?
Oh, when everybody gets back safe and with all the treasure.
Rich as fuck.
Yeah.
And they have gone on an adventure that will be talked about forever. Like all 3 of them have to quit. They can't sail with that crew ever again.
No.
They missed out on the sailing of a fucking lifetime.
Yeah, they fucked up so bad. Now, here's the thing. 3 crew members did die. So I do love that it's the same number that stayed behind.
Sure, but those 3 crew members that died are fucking legends.
True.
3 that didn't go, they can never set sail with that crew again.
No.
They're going to be the people that didn't make buttloads of money
sailing to the mystical island.
Mission.
Yeah.
They're the ones that missed out on the magical island mission where they met immortal gods and became rich. Can you imagine watching that ship pull into port? Your friends are coming off and they see you and they're like, buddy.
Damn.
Buddy.
You missed out.
Buddy. Why did you stay behind?
Yeah.
I like almost felt awful for them. But then I was like, that is a choice they made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the people who stays behind is the cook.
Yeah.
which is unfortunate, but
No, it's not, because they were about to eat some bland-ass food.
True.
But we're bringing Rock's daughter. You think Rock allowed his daughter to reach maturity and not know how to use some fucking seasoning salt? No. Okay? That bitch brought cardamom. They ate good on this trip because of the unkalaki.
yeah.
I don't know why I went with cardamom, but
It's a good flavor.
I think it's just I think that cardamom might be the funniest spice to just throw into a conversation.
Like, in terms of, like, how the word.
Yeah. It's also just, like, it's obscure enough that you don't use it very often, but it's, like, common enough that people know it's a spice. Like, there's some more, you could go more obscure, but they're less funny because people don't know what they are.
That's fair, yeah.
I think cardamom might be the, like, perfect...
It's a good word.
I know. I've realized I've made jokes with cardamom in it a few times in recent memory, and I think it's because I'm like, God, cardamom is the right spice for a joke.
The right spice for a joke.
James Ross says nutmeg. I don't know. I think nutmeg is too common. I think.
Sure.
Nutmeg also like makes the joke lean sexual. You know what I mean?
All right.
Do you think a mom who wears a cardigan is a cardamom?
It would be a cardamom, like Cardi instead of DA.
Does that matter for the joke?
Yes.
Great. Chapter 5. We take off. We start to introduce the concept that aluminum fucks with Fabriels. So
Yeah, aluminum is the the bane of the Cosmere.
yes.
Yeah.
It is the problem metal. James Ross.
The problem child.
James Ross will explain aluminum to you because I don't fucking get it. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Risen is brought down into the hollow ship. They're sailing. They find grubs in all of the grain stores, and I was like, wait, when did I start reading the Wheel of Time?
Oh,
what
yeah.
What is...
Wormy grain. Yeah.
Wait, the Dark One is touching the world.
Yeah.
We need to send Rand to the butthole at the North Pole.
It's not the Dark One. It's Nickley.
Well, we
Nickley
find
is
out.
the Dark One.
We do find out it is, in fact. Nickley, who is the steward that has been pushing, not in like a mean way, but just like assisting Risen in getting around.
Yeah.
Turns out Nickley is a fucking Sleepless.
Yeah. Just a little crab guy.
Yeah, Sleepless in Seattle over here has been fucking with everything, ruining the grain, and can telepathically communicate with all the other swarms on the planet, including the other swarms of Nickley that are not present in this body. So Nickley is not just the Kremlings that make up this body, but is a bunch of Kremlings that make up a bunch of different bodies. And I'm not going to lie, the way in which the Sleepless function in this book might have been a bit too much for me.
Nasty. That shit's freaky as fuck. You cannot make this without it being a horror movie or show. Yeah.
When
awful.
it expands its fingers and they detach a little bit.
No, yeah.
One thing I will say, now that the Sleepless are on the Alethi side of the war, through Risen, through Thelena, they're the best spies in the world, and there's no reason why the Alethi shouldn't be fully aware of everything going on in the war camps of the Fused at every moment from now on. You've introduced characters who are almost invisible, who can be everywhere on the planet at once, and who can communicate telepathically from anywhere on the world to anywhere else on the world.
Interesting. Oh, okay, I was like, I don't think they can imitate the Parsh people, but
it doesn't matter. You can send one little crab in,
I
listen to their war plans,
the one
and
that carries the
telepathically
ear.
Communicate it to anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the
seems pretty
Sleepless
useful.
are the ultimate. The Sleepless are the ultimate weapon. Victor's saying the Fuse have fought the Sleepless before. I mean, maybe, but like...
Yeah, but there's so many Kremlings around. Like, you gotta be, like, really good at identifying tiny little crabs.
Yeah.
Because they're like, is that a Kremling? Or is that just part of a Sleepless.
And maybe,
or maybe
in the
they're
fused
just
camps,
super...
they just kill every Kremling, right?
Yeah, maybe they have like fucking just like rat poison everywhere for Kremlings. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're a real Kremling or a Sleepless Kremling, you just get squashed.
It is sort of like the concept in Wheel of Time where they're like, every time you see a raven or a rat, you have to kill it.
Yeah.
They're like, every crab
dies.
Every crab dies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we find out that Risen is... One of the things I really like about this book, and why I think it's actually a very good little novella, is that the theme of the book is sort of living up to your mentors, right?
Oh,
and this book is really about Risen's relationship with her Babsk and what he taught her and the ways that she incorporates what he taught her. And this chapter is one of my favorite moments of that.
Yeah.
Other than the ending where she really crushes it.
Yeah, of course.
In that she takes the wormy grain to people who like to eat wormy grain. And she is using her lessons that she learned from her Babsk about trade and gets this jerky in return because that culture doesn't eat meat, but they still jerkify it. And
for trade.
She kills the superstitious bad vibes. This book, a lot of this book is about vibes. And Risen truly is like the vibe master.
The vibe master.
I feel like if she were a DJ at Coachella, she would be remembered.
Oh, interesting. See, I went to like that, like that's a vibrator brand, the Vibe Master. Yeah.
I don't know why you went there, but sure, yeah.
Because you called it the Vibe Master.
And you know what? I was not talking sexually, but we all see where your brain goes.
I can't tell. You know,
You are the dirty one in this relationship.
No.
I am not.
No, you are the pervert. You are a self-proclaimed
Yeah, that's true.
pervert. Yeah.
I know.
I am respectful.
Nope.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not once. So Nickley is like, hey, buzzing with the fam over here. Y'all, they're undeterred. I have not yet been able...
So, we have a problem?
I have not yet been able to affect the vibes to the point where they're turning the ship around.
The vibes are not rancid yet.
No, they should be. They should be as rancid as that grain.
Should be rancid.
But you know what? Like, if you're really hungry and you have some good beef jerky, that'll
do wonders, yeah.
It's good vibes.
Yeah.
You know, it is dangerous because if you don't have good fresh water, that jerky's going to make you thirsty. That shit's salty as fuck.
Yeah. You need to make sure you don't dehydrate yourself.
But, like, when you're on a hike... and you are like 3 hours in, you haven't yet eaten anything. So you're trying to you're planning out when you're going to eat all the shit in your pack throughout the day, you know? So you haven't had any food yet. And you crest that hill, you turn around, you stop walking for the first time in a while, and you look out on a beautiful vista.
Yeah.
The beautiful town of Banff is thousands of feet below you all of a sudden. And you realize, you know what? I am hungry. I'm going to take a little bite of some beef jerky. That first bite of beef jerky can really fix the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you fighting with your wife? Hand her some beef jerky.
Beef jerky.
Or a Snickers. One of the two. # not a spawn. Chapter 7. We get some Cord and Lopen time, which is when we are let in on the fact that not only are we on this expedition to find out more about this island, but also our Windrunners have a little secret mission.
Trying to find that Oath Gate.
Yeah. Clarice, how did you feel about this being a secret that causes Risen to doubt them for a bit?
It is. I mean, I agree with Risen here. She's like, why was that a secret?
That's my thinking as well.
It's like the Alethi just are fucking allergic to the truth. There has to be some secret at all times for no reason.
But like the Windrunners, there aren't Alethi. You know what I mean? Like there aren't actually any Alethi people in the book.
Sure,
after
but like
they leave Urithiru.
Their orders come from like Dalinar and Navani, I'm assuming.
I just feel like the fact that there was an Oathgate on Akina is not a secret. So the fact that they're looking for the Oathgate being a secret felt a little bit arbitrary. I'm not going to lie.
Well, and she says it is. Risen is like, why the fuck would you just like...
Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I like that she acknowledged that. She was like, why is this a secret? That's so silly.
Yeah. And so we get Huyo tinkering with some span reeds while Lopen makes fun of him for it.
Oh, yeah. He fucking breaks it. He puts it back together and it doesn't work again. And he's like, wow, good job, cousin. You fucked up.
And Huyo is not using the span reed to write because that would be very, very illegal. That would be so illegal.
Yeah, death.
But he is using the span read to do a little bit of Morse code.
Yeah, that is very
I
funny.
enjoyed. But Morse code.
Like, it's fine. It's numbers. It's not writing.
This gets into the glyphs aren't reading.
I know.
Conversation.
I know.
Morse code is reading. You are looking at a visual stimuli and understanding words from it. That is reading.
Yep.
That is not listening, because it is not a sound. It is a visual stimulus.
Yep.
Just because
if it was beeping,
they aren't letters.
If it was beeping, it'd be different. But it's not. It's flashing lights.
It drives me
so it's reading.
Crazy. The hoops people jump through to read in this world.
I know.
Just fucking read. It's great. Yeah. Reading's awesome.
Highly recommend.
I say as I listen to the audiobook of this book. I did read Fourth Wing. I did not listen to one second of audiobook for that book.
True.
I actually read Fourth Wing, which is a weird thing to say at this point. Oh, are you leaving?
Yeah.
Chat.
Sorry.
I'm all by myself for chapter 8. We get another bad omen. This is the coolest bad omen yet. I'm going to flip this pillow over so you can see the dope love is love pillow. Reading Morse code is not reading. Got it? That's what they say. It's the same logic as soaking isn't fucking. Oh, that's a good point. What a very Mormon way to think about things. Yeah. Goodbye, Clarus. Love is actually math. Is love math? Huh. That's interesting. Arzu, thank you for that super chat. What the fuck? Arzu, you're a mod here. Why are you paying to be at work? Were you surprised by how smart Huyo is? I love the story addressed language issues. Yeah. I do agree with you, right? One of the things I found so fascinating living in New York for as long as I did, and living mostly in communities where not only was being white make me like a member of the minority of that community, but also where English was not the language I heard most within like my local bodega. I mean, like the fucking convenience store is called bodega, right? And so I was around Spanish speaking people so much more than I had ever been growing up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, right? And one of the things that I think is so fascinating, you know what? Actually, this gets me into my favorite Oscars rant and Tony Awards, my favorite rant about award shows. There are so many people who are done so dirty in award shows, especially the Oscars, because it's so international, because the Oscars make them address their awards-winning speech in English. And so you're like, their intelligence doesn't get to come across because they have to use so much mental energy to be finding the words they want to say and not expressing themselves. And I just wish that the Oscars would be like, get up there, deliver your speech in your native language. I don't want to watch someone struggle to come up with the word. I want to watch them emote the moment. Because when you're using your brain to speak two different languages, the amount of mental energy that goes to the translating takes away from the mental energy you can use for other tasks in the moment, right? Mm-hmm. And so I do agree. There's this moment with Huyo where you get to see like Huyo is not as slow as I think that he is sometimes portrayed by the books, because he is spending that extra mental energy on communicating other things.
Yeah.
He's actually brilliant, right? He's inventing Morse code. Like, Huyo is fucking great.
I think that the book did a great job of that, of like how people communicate through different languages and which ones they're comfortable with and not, and how that affects their ability to communicate clearly.
Yeah. So no, Arzu, I completely agree with that. I think it's a great point. The bot did work, so...
Only one of the 4 commands has worked so far, so don't get too excited, okay? Stream Elements still sucks. We're going to shame it into working.
Michael Kioski says, I'm behind, but this ankle tangent is the best. Great.
One of our finest.
Feet
actually.
for free.
We should have timestamped that so I could clip it out and put it as a short on this channel so that we can entice people to come watch Full Book Club with talking about ankles.
This show is nonsense. So they find a Santhid corpse, and it is decomposing in the water ahead of them. It is clearly been murdered by somebody, which is bad juju.
Very bad, yeah. Santhid are gentle creatures that like will save sailors and are like a good omen. And so the dead one that someone has clearly attacked is very bad sign. And the sailors get a little antsy. The vibes starting to go rancid.
The vibes go rancid. But Risen, not to be deterred, is like, this is a great omen. The soul of that Santhid clearly wanted us to find it so that it could be cared for in the afterlife.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn,
I
Risen.
know.
Damn. Well fucking played.
Oh, yeah. She's great. Like, her being able to, like, twist any situation into a positive. And that's the problem with superstitions, right? Is that you can take anything that happens and infer positive or negative meaning from it.
Yeah.
And so that's what she does. She takes it and is like, no, what are the chances that in this entire ocean that it came to our ship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's clearly the soul of the Santhid that is asking us to take care of its body.
Yeah.
Duh. And I was like, damn, all right. So yeah, they try to hoist it so that they can tether it.
The plan is to drag it to a nearby beach.
Yeah.
So that they can know where it is, so that they can take the shell back to Thelena to place it in like a place of honor to honor the Santhid.
Yes. And to take care of the remains.
As they go to do that, Nickley's like, fuck.
Abort.
Everyone break apart. Everyone, back to the sea. Fuck. Oh, no, they're coming. Do not let them sink hooks into my flesh.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that happens, and it turns into a billion Kremlings.
Yeah, and that
horrifying.
Somehow doesn't make the vibes rancid. If I watch a Santhid corpse become a billion crabs, I would jump off the ship and I would die. I would not want to exist on this planet anymore. That would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. The Kremlings, the Sleepless, that all freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I'm not as freaked out by like little things as you are.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't like spiders or like, I think that if a crab was walking around our house, you'd freak out.
A crab?
Like, it was a little crab. Like a really little crab.
Okay, actually, so when I went to PEI...
I thought you were about to say when you went to pee, like right now.
Oh, no. When I went to PEI, the beach that we went to was like super shallow. Like parts of it like had like this much water. Yeah. And there were like all these like tiny little crabs in it. And they were very cute. They were a little scary because I was like, what if it like pinches me? Mm-hmm. But I didn't actually find them that like creepy crawly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were just like teeny little tiny baby crabs.
So if I release a bunch of crabs in our house, you're not going to have a problem with that?
See, if there's like a horde of them, that gets really fucking weird.
So you couldn't date one of the Sleepless is what you're saying?
No, could not. But if you brought home like a teeny little pet crab, I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's cute. Mm-hmm. Big difference.
Well, despite the fact that the Santhid disappears into the ocean, the crew is like, you know what if we get off the water for a bit? Because that freaked us the fuck out. And so they go have a beach party.
Yeah,
they
little
play
bonfire.
Some very sweaty, oiled up volleyball. It looks a lot like the scene from Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very homoerotic.
I mean, there are a lot of men and women on the ship.
Yeah, but the volleyball scene in this book is very homoerotic.
All right.
Yeah.
Only men play volleyball on Roshar. Yeah. They can't read, but they can play volleyball. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so stupid. Do they have any sports? They don't really have any sports in Roshar.
They duel. They kill one another.
Well, no, but only the Alethi duel. Like, one of the things that fantasy... Like, I love Final Fantasy. Because they acknowledge, like, there are sports. People have interests. There's things to do.
Like, are there any, like, elite baseball players that, like, have cards of themselves made and, like, go tour and, like, autograph things for people?
Yeah, more fantasy stuff needs sports.
Okay.
I think that it's, like, Alethi just drinking and fighting and, like, giving
drinking
left-handed hand jobs.
All right.
I mean, yeah, drinking could be a sport.
Drinking could be a sport.
I just think it's weak world building that there's no volleyball.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Brandon Sanderson.
Where's the volleyball?
They should play volleyball more.
Yeah.
With their shirts off.
Only beach volleyball.
Why only beach volleyball?
So they take their shirts off.
You can take your shirt off in court volleyball. Is that called court? What is it called? Just volleyball?
Literally no idea. I don't play volleyball. I'm very bad at it.
I should know this. I was on my high school volleyball team for a year.
Is it just volleyball?
I think we called it volleyball.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's volleyball and beach volleyball, and that's it. Volleyball is starting to sound really weird.
I was on a really good volleyball team because my school had 2 kids in it who were on the like Canada men's under 18 volleyball team.
Oh, damn.
And so our volleyball team was really good because we were all really tall and they were professionals. And we were also like, my school had like less than 400 students in it, right? And so we were in Division D because it was based on like the size of your school. So we had like these 2 guys who could basically just win any volleyball match by themselves. And then the other 4 of us like, yeah,
Love
balls.
Balls.
Chapter 9. Yeah, so they go to the beach. We get the conversation about Risen starts to think that there is a light weaver who is snuck into the crew, who is fucking with them.
Yeah, she's like, what is the explanation for a Santhid turning into a bunch of tiny little crabs?
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be an illusion, right? Like, that's got to be magic. And so the Lightweaver conclusion makes sense. She writes back to report on this. She's writing to Navani, who then conveys stuff to Yasna, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's kind of talking with both of them, and Yasna's like, damn, well done. You're really smart.
Yeah. Well, and I do like that we get kind of the span reads here, because once that we don't really get them much later on, but the reality of the span reads means that this kind of like in the moment expedition research can be done, which I think is really cool. There is something to the fact that they can communicate. Like as they're exploring this world that has so many unexplored bits, they can send information back so fast.
Yeah.
And kind of real time.
That's why Mistborn Era 2 needs radios.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so does Roshar. Having to write things down means you have to bring women. How are we supposed to have our homoerotic beach adventures
if there are
we
women
have to
around?
Bring women?
They can only be gay.
We just need our lesbians.
Yeah.
They're just tugging a U-Haul behind the ship.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God.
Sorry, Captain. No, we can't leave yet. The lesbians are hooking the U-Haul up. Well, we'll be out of here in 10 minutes. They're really good at it. They do it all the time.
They're well practiced.
It's just this beautiful, like, wood pirate ship tugging this orange and white little box that bobs along by. It's just filled with strap-ons.
Damn, that's a lot of strap-ons.
And so since they're on solid ground, we get some time, hard pivot to fucking around with Risen's chair. As we start to figure out, is there a way that we can use aluminum to fuck with the connection between the gems,
right?
So that she can use a oar to canoe herself around.
Yeah, we get here because Huio, when he put together the span reed, accidentally put a piece of aluminum in there somehow. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck that happened. But it leads to the accidental discovery that aluminum fucks with the pairing of like twinned rubies.
Yeah.
And so they figure that they can use that to help Risen be more mobile, because as long as you're both on a moving object, the brain just decides that you're not actually moving. Look, this made no sense to me, and I moved on real fast. But there is a reason for it that Brandon Sanderson does explain to people who are smarter than I am.
Well, the reason is based in relativity.
Yeah.
Right, because the book even brings up one of the things about this moment that kind of fucked me up is that the book brings up, there's actually a couple of moments where the book brings up scientific ideas that feel beyond the book. One of them is in this moment that they're like, oh, this is why the planet moving doesn't affect.
And I was like, oh, damn, they know.
Reads.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do they know the planet's moving?
Well, I mean, you can assume that the planet's moving because the stars change.
Yeah, but when we had a similar level of technology, we were like, oh, yeah, we're the center of like why don't they think that Roshar is the center of the galaxy? How are they sure that they're on a globe? Are there flat earthers on Roshar?
Somebody went to ask cultivation.
Oh, interesting. The gods just fucking told them.
I guess if you
know what, actually with the storms, I'm willing to bet actually the person who figured out that the world is round is because they were watching the high storms go around. I mean, like, oh, this has to be a circle because the high storms are doing this.
Oh. Yeah, duh. Like, if it's the same storm, it can't. Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Science.
Miss Mimunk, it brings up a great point. Do they have telescopes?
Not that I've seen.
But here's the thing: so ours is cognitive realm stuff. But if you go into the cognitive realm, you can walk to another planet somehow, which would imply to me that Roshar is flat.
Yeah, that does actually get a little funky.
Because if the cognitive realm isn't a sphere, then why would the physical realm be a sphere? And how would you know that it's moving? Like, I'm really curious. And it's so dumb. But like when they were like the line where they were like, yeah, this is why the motion of the planet and its spin or whatever the line is doesn't affect span reads. I was like, how the fuck? How do you know that?
Yeah, wait a minute.
How are you aware?
Back up.
Of the motion of the planet?
The motion of the ocean. You know what I mean?
I also realized tides, because Roshar doesn't have a moon, right? And so, what are the tides built upon?
They don't have tides.
But they have waves.
Sure, yeah. Because the planet rotates, I guess. But there's no... There's no tides. Like, there's no high tide and low tide. I don't think that's ever mentioned.
Wait, no, Roshar has moons. Which is the one that doesn't... No, Scadrial doesn't have moon.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm conflating Cosmere planets. They're saying that Eratosthenes did the calculations for the Earth's circumference.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do get that. Linus Richardson says windrunners can fly around the globe. Can they?
In the high storm, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess they can. Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. They can.
I mean, or if they brought enough storm light with them, like, it's possible.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I just find it funny that, I don't know.
Wait, no. Mispronounced name says the cognitive realm is flat because people perceive the world as flat, but they don't perceive the world as flat.
They can't perceive the world as flat
because
if
they know
view
it's
it as
round.
a globe. Wait, no,
that doesn't make any sense.
Wait, no, mispronounced name. You just fucking crushed it. You just fucking crushed it for me. They cannot perceive the world as flat if they know it's not flat. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was funny that my brain stuttered on, because the planet moves, and I was like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
And also, do planets move in the Cosmere? I don't actually know that that's true. I would love, you know what? I would love if the planets don't move. If they are actually stuck in place in the Cosmere.
The sun rotates around Roshar.
But the characters in Cosmere think that they move, but that's actually not true.
Yeah. No, the sun goes around Roshar, obviously, to make it daytime and nighttime.
It's the opposite of our world where people still think it's flat. I'm genuinely concerned by how many people think the world is flat.
I've never met one.
Oh, I have.
So I just think that they're bots online.
No, they're very real.
How have you met a flat earther?
What?
Like, where would you meet?
I mean, I toured the United States of America. I've met a lot of people who believe a lot of dumb shit.
I guess, yeah, you went outside.
I will say this. I've never met a flat earther outside of the U.S.
Well, we haven't been outside of the U.S. that much.
We live in Canada. We don't... What do you mean we haven't been outside the U.S. that much?
Sorry,
we don't live in the U.S.
I was thinking North America. That's my bad. No, you're right. I've never met...
the U.S. much. You don't live there.
Never met a Canadian flat earther.
I've never met a Canadian flat earther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because Americans really want to be special.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So we get into chapter 10. We head back onto the ship. So, yeah, everyone is wrongly round earthers, Johan. That's what we're going with. Okay, so we get back on the ship, and Nickley getting desperate. Nickley, not the worst person ever, doesn't want to murder everyone.
Yeah, it's like, murder is the last resort here.
Yeah, and so Nickley's like, hey, that Cord, that Horn-Eater woman, she is bad news.
Yeah.
And Rizen's like, oh yeah, bet? Prove it to me. Mm-hmm. And Nickley's like, all right, in 2 days, I'm going to prove it to you. And so Nickley's like, well, tomorrow, I'm going to check all of her shit. And so Nickley does Go and proves it. Brings up the Blackbane. Is like, she's poisoning people.
Nickley got set up so hard.
And Risen is like, yeah, you fuck. You are the only person who's been against this the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And why are you? What were you gonna poison? Were you gonna kill us all? And Nickley's like, yeah, we probably would have.
Yeah, if it came down to it, yeah.
And so, in what is this the missing scene from this book, right? They fly Nickley to a nearby island. They're almost at Arcanum at this point. And leave Nickley and his assistant, who is completely unaware of the situation.
Sure, but they don't know that he's
on the
innocent.
island.
Yeah.
Right, but the missing scene is that they get locked up on this island, right? Lopen and Huyo fly away, and then this assistant, who is just manacled to a random island in the middle of nowhere, watches as his employer turns into thousands of crabs and leaves him there. It's the craziest moment in the whole novel, and it's not in the novel.
He's like, no one's gonna believe me. Do they go back for him, do you think? Because he's not mentioned
I really fucking hope so.
at the end of this book at all.
Well, he's never named. So, like...
No, he is. It starts with a P.
Oh, is he named?
Yeah, no, he has a name. But they do not mention going back to get him at all.
Oh, it's Plamry.
Yeah.
Plamry. Wow, that's rough.
It's polyamory.
He
He just slid some polyamory into the book, thank you.
Brandon Sanderson was like, I need a way to get polyamory off the ship.
Yeah.
This is a monogamous vessel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine watching your employer turn into crabs and leave you alone stranded on an island? At least it's not a deserted island. There is a Thalen outpost here.
True.
So someone will come in and check on him eventually. Eventually.
Yeah.
But this poor man had to watch his boss turn into crabs.
Yeah.
Horrifying. I thought about it for the rest of the book.
There's the next book is just a therapy session with polyamory being like, hey, what's real? What's fake? I don't know anymore. I can't trust my own eyes.
And so without Nickley, the fucking betrayer, we head to the island. We get one of like the best fucking Lopen's shit in the whole world.
Yeah, so they start to go through this storm
Yeah.
that circles the island.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just a perfect circle as a protective barrier. And the storm is bad. Like, these waves are ridiculous, but they got a very special fancy ship and they're all very good at their jobs. However, that being said, you know, the ocean is dangerous, and one of the sailors goes flying off the ship, and Lopen's like, not on my watch. And he flies into the ocean to pull this man back out and onto the ship.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Very fun. Very cool. And then Lopen's like, it'd be really bad if those stormlight stealing creatures found me while I was in there, so I better be careful next time.
Well, because interestingly, he doesn't need to breathe.
Yeah.
Right? So he can chase them, much like the beads in Shadesmar. He can chase them as deep into the water and grab them, because with a stormlight, he doesn't need to breathe, which I think is a really interesting point in the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. Like, having a windrunner with you while in the water is fucking... Or really any Radiant, because any Radiant could dive down and get you. It's just easiest for windrunners to get you back up.
To lash, yeah.
A Radiant would have to swim you up.
Yeah.
But I love this beat of Lopen diving in after people to save them. Mm-hmm. And then just lashing them to the ship.
I know.
And the captain be like, wait, you could have lashed yourself to the ship the whole time? And Lopen's like, yeah, but that wouldn't have been fair. You guys can't. So, like, yeah.
I know, right? But he does stick the captain's one foot just in case.
Yeah, so they can move a little bit.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think sticking one foot is more dangerous.
I mean, you could really twist your knee.
You could fucking rip that shit out.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love the idea that, like, the windrunners also become like deep sea divers and researchers because they can explore underwater up until the pressure, I guess.
But the pressure can't kill them. They're windrunners. I think they would be able to survive it.
Yeah. I guess would Stormlight heal you fast enough to combat
The
like
pressure.
sudden changes in pressure like that?
I mean, fucking Shallan gets shot in the face.
True.
Would water pressure be one of the few things that could kill a windrunner?
I wonder, yeah. But it's so interesting because I'm like, damn, like, and now I'm like, what's on the ocean floor of Roshar? Like, because they might be able to actually figure that out, which is very cool.
I think I can tell you.
What?
Crabs.
Probably, yeah.
So they get to Akana. They get through the storm. Lopen is the fucking baddest boy and saves everybody. It's so rad. I love this moment for him. It's written really well. It's a great action sequence.
Yeah.
Without action, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the shore. We find fucking gem hearts and a bunch of dead great shell corpses all over the shore as if this is where they go to die. Nope, fuck you. Those are fake.
Yeah, there's no creme built up on any of them.
Yeah.
Which at first they were like, oh, well, the high storms don't come here, I guess.
Yeah.
But then when they get to the city, everything is covered in creme. And so, like, very clearly someone did not pay attention to detail.
Old creme?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So...
I thought that what it was going to be was that... Because this is why I was thinking about the tides and the moons. I thought that the reason why there was no creme on the beach was because the tide would come up and it would take the creme away. But the gem hearts were too heavy to get pulled away by the tide. And so basically the tide, I thought it was going to be that the tide was coming up and cleaning the creme off the beach.
Off. That's fun.
Obviously that is not what happened, but it was an interesting idea.
Yeah. They planted fake gems on the beach.
Yeah.
Rude. But they...
James Ross brings up such an interesting point. There wouldn't be a pressure differential while underwater because they could deep dive with no air in their lungs. Because that's the problem, right? That's what kills you.
Apparently,
the pressure difference between the air and the water.
Which doesn't make any sense.
If they were to blow all the air out of their body and survive on Stormlight, the pressure wouldn't hit them as hard as it normally would.
Sure.
That's really deeply fascinating.
We need a deep sea expedition on Roshar.
We need some windrunners to dive deep.
This book was the result of a Kickstarter campaign, so maybe we can do a Kickstarter. Yeah, I think I read the back of the in the back of the book there. It says that this book was written very, very quickly because on the last that the community came together to make this book happen. So now we need a deep sea dive expedition.
Huh.
Oh, but they need to breathe in to get Stormlight. That is true, yeah. It was an extra prize of a Kickstarter. So I guess it was like a stretch goal of some kind.
I'm not going to lie. For a stretch goal, I'm even more impressed now. That shit was... I honestly, like, Dawnshard is, in my opinion, one of the better Brandon Sanderson projects.
Yeah.
It's so tight.
Yeah.
Like, it's not S tier. It's not in the Oathbringer, like, S tier level with, like, Hero of Ages and Final Empire. Mm-hmm. But I do put it in the, like, A tier.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that this book is a blast. I'm so glad that, like, this is what we came back with.
So, I guess that if they hadn't hit that goal, then all this stuff would have just been in Rhythm of War then.
I guess, yeah.
Because like Lopen getting his shard blade, like stuff like that.
Yeah, like all this does seem incredibly important and relevant to the main series. So yeah, if it wasn't its own book, I actually don't know where these would have been interludes, I guess, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, so some of them, Rushu, Lopen, Huyo, head inland past the fake gem hearts to try and find the Oath Gate, while I was going to call them pirates, but the sailors start to collect their bounty, their treasure.
Yep.
And back on the ship, Risen is like, wait a second. I don't know if I buy this. I don't know about this one, y'all.
The vibes are off.
And then she's right, because thousands and 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 thousands of crabs start scuttling their way up in a little scuttle up onto the ship. And then they start to reform, and standing before her is Nickley. And then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Great addition. Thank you for that.
Sorry, I was trying to remember Rock's daughter's name.
Cord,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank God Cord is there.
Thank God Cord is there.
Saves their asses and literally throws both of them into the ocean.
There is a moment earlier in the book where Risen asks Cord why she's on this mission.
Yeah.
And she does acknowledge that she thinks it's because Lopen is hitting on her.
Oh, true, yeah. She's like, I think Lopen wants to impress me, but I'm also here for treasure.
For treasure, which is a miscommunication between the two of them, even though, actually, we didn't talk about it, but one of my favorite moments in this whole book, so sweet, is the moment where Cord realizes that Risen can speak Vaden.
Oh.
And
she's like, thank God, a normal, like a language.
A proper language.
Yeah.
The relief of her realizing that she has someone she can genuinely communicate with.
Yeah.
That she can have conversations that aren't all a struggle.
Yeah.
Is so beautiful and real. Like, I've seen that moment a million times.
Yeah.
You know, and it just is... I've seen it walking over to a table, right, when I was waitering, and being like, oh, oui, je peux parler français, you know.
Yeah.
And watching a table of French speakers who are, like, trying to get their order in, suddenly realize they can just talk in French. Mm-hmm. It is a kind of relief that's very unique. Mm-hmm. And I thought that moment was played really beautifully.
I think on top of that, the what, like, makes it even better is that Risen is about to be like, yeah, of course I speak Vaden. It's really easy once you know Alethi, and then stops herself.
Yeah.
Because, like, wait a minute, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, just because it was easy for me to pick up, because I've studied these languages my entire life, does not mean that that's everybody's experience of it.
Well, and, you know, some people learn languages better than others. And also some people just, like, Risen had the best educators. Not just the best education, but just, you know, great educators to help her with that process.
Yeah.
And not everyone is... I think that there's a lot of moments in this book where Risen checks her privilege. Not in, like, a woke, like, way, you know, but just in, like, the natural way of being like, I am about to be rude, and I don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. Like, I think that... Especially because she talks so much about how she used to be difficult. And
she's like, I was a brat.
In the Stormlight Archive books, we saw that she was difficult, right? And I really appreciated the acknowledgement of that and the growth of this character as she's an adult now. And the weight of leadership has changed her.
Her and Lopen both, right? They both kind of go through an immense... Well, I don't know about Risen going through it as, like, in the moment as Lopen, but doing that self-reflection on how she has changed.
Yes, yeah.
And that
we see it more in the
growth.
way that she is different now.
Yeah.
And
not in the actual midst of that.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that not all of that growth comes from her losing the ability to walk.
Yeah.
That a lot of that growth, like, and obviously that affects her and makes her grow up in a way, right?
Yeah.
Any sort of life-changing injury like that forces you to adapt and grow up a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But also, the book calls back to her Babs so much, and it's just the way in which this man has molded her and really made her better because of his lessons is beautifully done throughout the whole book, and really leans into that theme of mentorship and you know what it means to take over, what it means to be the next generation in a position, right?
Yeah.
And the responsibility of being mindful of the lessons your mentors teach you, and I think the book handles that so well.
Yeah.
So
we should mention before they throw themselves into the water that Chiri Chiri disappeared into the ocean.
Yeah,
kind of like
away.
Became alive and was like, oh, and
I'm going home.
Dove into the water
to a place where I belong
with the Luxspren.
Yeah,
these can't be Luxspren, right? Like, how would you determine luck?
Oh, I see what
like,
you're
how
saying.
would they be named Luxspren? Like, how can you be
they're
like...
around when good things happen. I think that's what it is. I think that people view them as Luxspren because good things happen around them, but they're not actually Luxspren.
Actually Luxspren,
yeah,
right?
I see what you're saying.
Because luck, whether or not luck is an actual real concept in this world, I think is, at this point for us, completely up for debate.
Well, no, but here's the thing. The Spren exist because of the perception of humans, right? And Parshendi. And so if...
Oh, but not humans, the people that also came before them, right?
Sure, but like the concept, I think that this is in Warhammer 40k, right? If enough orcs believe in something, it exists. Like, their ships shouldn't actually be able to fly through space. The orcs believe that they can, and so they can.
I do believe in fairies.
Yeah. It's like that. This is one of those cases where people believing in the concept of luck at such a massive scale, like everyone believes in luck, right? Mm-hmm. Luck is, in our world, luck pervades different societies. People believing in luck is enough for Luxpren to exist. They create with their belief. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Or hear me out. My crazy theory is that Luxpren are actually some of the oldest Spren on Roshar, and people saw them when good things happen and then associated them with luck, but they were actually around beforehand, and they're not actually, like, does that make sense?
So they just good vibes Spren then?
Yeah, they're good vibes Spren.
And so we cut away, our girls jump into the water. Mm-hmm. We cut over to Rushu and Lopen, who are flying around the city trying to find an oath gate, and they find it. Unfortunately, it has been completely and utterly destroyed.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So crazy that this one got destroyed, but the one on the Shattered Plains didn't.
Yeah.
So crazy.
But then they realize... that but actually, in order to get to the fake oath gate, they do have to get through a wall, and Rushu pulls out a soulcaster.
No, that's the real oath gate that they find underneath. They find the fake one, and Rizen's like, or sorry,
is that the sequence of events?
Yeah. They find the real one, and they're like, wait a minute, that's silly, that doesn't make any sense. So they go underground.
It's maintained but disintegrated, and they were like, the one on the Shattered Plains was fucking fine. This can't be real.
Yeah. So they go underneath, and it looks like someone put a fake oath gate on top of it to stop people from looking for a working one that exists underneath of it. And it turns out Rushu is a soulcaster. But she was like, that was boring.
She's not a soulcaster. She briefly studied as a soulcaster. Yeah. She has a minor in soulcasting.
Yes. Yes.
But she has a soulcaster, which I guess makes her a soulcaster, but she finds their work boring.
Yeah.
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 It's not the horrifying slow disfigurement of your entire body until it eventually consumes you and you die. It's that it wasn't that fun.
Yeah. It was just not that interesting. Their work was kind of boring.
I love that concept. But I could have changed water into wine for the rest of my life, but I wanted something more exciting than that.
Yeah. So she turns this stone wall to smoke.
And they find the oath gate.
They find the actual oath gate inside.
Hell yeah, brother. Chapter 16, Deep Under the Water.
We reacted to this one.
We did. We reacted to 16 secretly. Yeah. We reacted to 17. We didn't tell anyone. You had to watch the video to the end. So if you got to the end of the reaction, you didn't listen to the post chat, you didn't get to watch us react to 17. Faux free. Yeah. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Giving little gifts.
You're welcome.
I was going for the double. You didn't.
Sorry. I was like, I don't want to hit my microphone. But
chapter 16 though,
go be a patron.
We find ourselves in a cave underwater, and
there. So Risen and
Cord.
Cord.
Wow, you are struggling with this name.
I don't know. Risen and Cord are guided by Luxpren to this underwater cavern. Of some kind.
My favorite kind of cavern.
Oh.
Yeah.
The ones underwater?
Actually, can we tangent for a second here?
No, we don't actually do that on Book Club ever.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to do it anyway. I don't like caves.
Oh.
I find them very scary. I don't want to spelunk. I don't like caves.
Oh.
The idea of going like if it's like an open cave at the that's fine, right? But anything where I have to squeeze my body through a crevice, I'm not doing it.
I like it. It's fun.
No. And here's, you want to know what? This is the most toxic I'm ever going to be in our relationship.
All right.
If you told me that you were going to go do that, I would say no.
You would say I can't go?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't want you to die in a cave. If you got stuck in a cave and and I had to be outside thinking about the fact that you're slowly suffocating to death inside of a cave, I would freak out.
But I'm tiny. I can get in and out.
I don't care. That ass is getting juicier.
Yeah, I get stuck in a cave because them booty gains.
Yeah, I don't like caves. Look, and there are different caves, right? There's like caves that you can safely walk where, it's impossible for you to die. I'm talking
Unless there's a
specifically
cave in.
about like any video where someone is like slowly disappearing into a hole in the ground. No, absolutely not.
All right.
No, I did Floyd Collins the musical, and you have no idea what that is. Floyd Collins is this famous guy. He was a caver, and he got caught, and it became this. He was like stuck for, I think it was like 2 weeks before he died. And they were trying to save him, and they couldn't. And the musical is about him slowly dying in this cave as his family and the public and the press are slowly more and more people are trying to save him.
They had 2 weeks to save him, and they couldn't get him out?
I can't remember how long. No, that he was like wedged in. It's like very famous story. And he was just underground by himself in the dark, dying slowly. And it's a fucking brilliant musical. It's on Broadway right now. Jeremy Renner's playing Floyd Collins right now. My friend Charlie Franklin, who I did Floyd Collins at Pace University with, is in the Broadway production right now.
Yeah.
Good for him. Way to go, Charlie. But yeah, it's fucking dark. I don't like caves.
I'm not claustrophobic, so when I was younger and we were doing like family hikes and stuff like that, we definitely went through caves and things, and
Yeah.
I thought it was very fun. There was a point in my life where I wanted to be a geologist. Like I was like, rocks are cool.
Stream Element says, thank you for understanding. Thank you, Stream Elements.
Fuck you, Stream Elements.
Yeah. Thank you
I
for your
hate you.
understanding.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, sorry, you're not allowed to go into caves that are thick enough. Here's my rule, okay? And I hope that you'll abide by this. If you have
I just won't tell you.
If you have to breathe out to squeeze through the hole, you're not allowed to go in.
Oh, I've never done that.
I would lose my mind.
Yeah, no.
It would scare the shit out of me.
If I do go caving, I will just not let you know. Be like, I went on a hike.
Tell me about it after.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I have to sit there and think about the fact that you might be suffocating underground,
Great.
yeah.
All right.
I am not that kind of toxic man who has a lot of rules for you, but this is one. For my sanity, I need you to not. I never want to watch you go.
I don't really know like where that would even be plausible. My rib cage doesn't even shrink that much when I exhale.
Fuck, that's true. Just don't die.
All right.
I just need you to live.
I won't
can't
die.
function on my own.
Okay. I'll work on that.
Yeah. Anyway, so they find a cave.
Oh my god.
Nicholas Reed says, I won't even breathe out to put on a shirt.
Why would you breathe out to put on a shirt?
It was a joke. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
They're saying I was like, don't breathe out to go into a cave. And they're saying I wouldn't breathe out to put on a shirt.
Good to know. Thank you for understanding.
Skepcat says, I literally had the same rule about skydiving. I don't feel like I need a rule about skydiving, but I don't think you ever would. I can't picture you skydiving.
Not. I don't know. I like roller coasters and shit.
There's the abyss between roller coastering and skydiving is about 10,000 feet.
Yeah, and
10,000 literal feet.
And this thing is, I don't know if I would either. Like, I can't decide if I would be down for that.
Mispronounced name. Think about Superchat. They say descent reaction when. That's a great question. I'll watch it in a movie. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a phobia where I like can't watch it. I just never want to do it.
Sure.
Oh, I can't scuba dive.
Oh yeah, no.
The idea of being deep underwater with a tank, I couldn't do
that.
That
I would do for sure, but like that's never something that we will experience together.
And I don't have a rule against you doing that one.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific phobia about that. I just would recommend you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
I know, and it's safe, and people do it. I get that. I wouldn't.
I'm
also
go
asthmatic.
Crazy, like
there is a breathing element of being an asthmatic my whole life that I'm like. Yes, the chances of something going wrong are low, but the chances of something going wrong for me specifically are higher.
Sure.
So that definitely is an element of it for me.
We do get that, like...
Ignotus says, wait a minute, do Canadians use feet and not meters?
Yes.
Yes.
So
we use actual measurements.
Here in Canada, we use unspoken hybrid of metric and imperial.
We're not even talking about Dawnshard anymore.
We use centimeters and we use feet. And we do use kilometers, but we use we use is it liters or is it we use liters.
No, but here's the thing. So
but if you're talking like temperature outside, we use Celsius. But if you're talking about cooking temperature,
we use
that's Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
If you're talking about the height of somebody, we use feet and inches.
Yeah.
But if you're using any other distant measurements, we usually use centimeters and meters for some reason. Couldn't tell you why. I don't know. There's some weird.
We use, like, for a person's weight, we use pounds.
Yeah.
But for like the weight of most things, we use. No, it's mostly pounds.
Mostly pounds. I don't. Yeah. I mean, we don't really use like.
Canadians use a real mix of. It's very odd, and it only makes sense to Canadians. I can't even remember what the rules are, but I know them inherently.
Yeah. Chris, thank you for that super chat. I'm less scared of skydiving than roller coasters. What? Why?
I mean, here's the thing. I think that if you're scared of roller coasters because the people who typically put roller coasters together aren't reliable, yeah, I agree. I don't trust carnies. Have you met a carny? Like permanent roller coasters, like Canada's Wonderland or like Six Flags. I trust that shit. That's a permanent, an adult professional put that together.
Okay.
A fair roller coaster was put together by a high 15-year-old who's pretending to be 18. And I don't and they were doing it while they were like fully erect looking at a Playboy magazine. And so I just don't trust that roller coaster's safe.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
I don't know why they're looking at Playboy so much at work, but
yeah, I was like,
who looks at Playboy in 2025?
Yeah, they just Playboy's still around. Yeah, they are. Fair. I definitely got stuck on a fair ride once, and
I got stuck on a permanent coaster. When I was in third grade at
Callaway Park.
Callaway Park.
Yeah.
With my grade 1 and 2 bully Drew Dutton.
Yeah.
We got stuck upside down. He had like moved to Kitchener for grade 3 and then had come back for the summer, and his parents were like, "We want to take you out to Callaway Park and like say sorry because Drew beat the shit out of you." And we ended up having a great day. And then I got stuck upside down on a roller coaster. And I, previous to that, had been very scared of heights. And I'm no longer scared of heights.
Cured.
Yeah.
See? Exposure therapy works.
Oh, spam risk. Hello? $420? Yeah. Yeah. You talk about Dawnshard. I need to go.
Guys, it's not a spam risk. It's not a spam risk. Oh, our P.O. box. Wait, no, our P.O. box is our P.O. box 420 anymore? I don't think so. Weird. Anyways, where were we? We were in a cave. We were in a cave, and Nerdy does not like caves. I'm not claustrophobic, so it doesn't really bother me. Okay. What happens next? Well, they try and find we've got Cord. I remembered. Cord and Risen. All right. Got to try and get out of this cave. And there are tunnels. One thing that I am confused about is like where they are. Like, are they connected to the island and like the underground, like Oathgate in some way? But the way that they talk about it makes me think that they're not, because Risen is like, I know things about. Yeah, weird. I don't know.
We need to find the login for our P.O. box.
Oh.
Because I don't know what's there.
Great. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Why don't you just log into the app?
I don't know what the login is.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think they're under the island.
They are under the island, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't exactly know where they are because the Luxbrand just like led them somewhere. But guess what they find under there?
The Dawnshard.
Well, okay, first they find the shard plate.
They find a painting on the wall of...
No, Cord finds treasure first.
No, they find the painting first.
Do they find that?
Yeah, and then Cord goes into like a back room.
Oh, there's like a secondary...
Yeah.
Right.
We find a painting that holds one of the 4 commands that allowed...
life.
The shards to kill Adonalsium, or to break apart Adonalsium into the powers that they stole from it.
So I think the 4 commands created life and then were also used against God to kill God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
That's what we learned in the
last chapter.
No, in the Secret History.
Oh, Adonalsium.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You were like, Adonalsium, and I was like, yeah.
So there was one god.
There was a god.
That has been broken up into, I don't know how many smaller gods.
I have no idea how many shards there are.
It is so wild that Secret History, without reading Secret History, this would make no fucking sense. Like, I'm so glad we read Secret History before this.
Yeah, you'd be like, what is Adonalsium?
Like, who the fuck was Adonalsium?
Light Blinded Fool. Thank you so much.
Light Blinded Fool!
5 gifted memberships. Go enjoy those reactions.
Thank you so much for gifting 5 membos.
Go have a good time.
Radiant. Light Blinded Fool bringing some fucking squires into the community here.
Hell yeah. We need more of those. Love to see it.
The number of shards has been said at this point, I think. I think it has. I just can't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, 16, right? That's a special number.
Is it 16? Okay.
I think it's gotta be.
So somebody, I'm assuming that the people who became the shards now, the 16 of them used the 4 commands. So it takes 4 people per Dawnshard to use them, I'm thinking.
4 people per Dawnshard?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the Dawnshard has...
4, 8, 12,
yeah,
16.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm thinking that there were 4, and there's 4 commands. So it takes 4 people, 1 on each command, to use the Dawnshard, to bring the Dawnshards together to rip God apart, to give them powers and become gods.
Yeah.
Right? That feels kind of like what the end of this book implies.
I don't know.
This plus Secret History together, it feels like that's the implication. Is that you kind of have to like, sort of like at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, how like Peter Quill would die if he used the Reality Stone by himself, but because they all hold hands and are best friends, they don't die.
The power of love, Murph.
Power of dance.
Yeah. So there's a
Kevin Bacon.
Super special mural that feels like it has a feeling, and Risen allows the feeling and decides to accept feelings, and then the mural doesn't seem like it's alive anymore, but it's alive in her brain. Somehow she's a host for
Arzu's saying go watch the reactions on the original channel. The reactions are on this channel as well, Arzu. Old reactions aren't, but the Dawnshard ones are.
New reactions are also on the channel, yes.
Yeah, the old ones are going to start going up on this channel. It's just a process. Because there's 120 of them.
It's a lot of video
We've done a lot of audiobook reactions.
Yeah.
It's a mural, Cole. Hallelujah.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, Cord walks off into the back and she finds sharp
treasure.
Plate. And we get this beautiful moment of Risen being like, before she finds it, Risen's like, you're here for treasure, and she's like, no, I'm treasure, but like shard treasure. My people need shards.
Yeah.
And I love the moment of them realizing the misunderstanding. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
And so she goes and finds. She got some shard plate.
She got some shard plate. She's trying to power it with whatever gemstones they have.
Yeah, they're slowly just cobbling together whatever they can find.
Yeah.
Somehow stuff down here still is holding its charge, even though I feel like the Stormlight should have leaked out of it. But
there's a bunch of soul casters.
There's
as
8
well.
soul casters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 for food, which is great. And we cut back to the Lopen. And the Lopen realizes it's a trap and starts charging back to the shore to try and save people. And this is where we start to get the like sort of the Sanderlanche of this book that feels less like a Sanderlanche because all of these characters are in the same plot line. And these events are directly connected.
Yeah.
And we get kind of the Risen staring at a painting until it tells her to accept something, and then she becomes the Dawnshard. At the same time, Lopen
Yeah.
reaches the beach. And we know these are concurrent because Nickley shows up in both places at this point. On the beach, he shows up as a fucking kaiju.
Oh, no. Nickley isn't the kaiju.
Yeah, he is.
No.
Yeah, because there's a point where...
No, he says that those are specialized kremlings.
Yes, that are part of his horde. So we find out that they are swarms, right? And the kaiju is also Nickley because there's a point where in the book, Lopen like hits the kaiju and then we cut to the conversation in the cavern and Nickley like reacts and is like, your friends are really good fighters. And so Nickley is both the kaiju and the person at this point.
Okay. Yeah. I missed that.
Yeah. I believe that's what the jumping back and forth is insinuating.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. Hive mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess when you can all communicate and stuff, everything is part of a larger whole.
Mistborn St says, by the way, the current Cosmere playlist is missing the second half of Oathbringer. Thank you so much. I will fix that.
Okay, good to know. Like the video.
Yeah, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. This is a new channel.
Please subscribe.
We want to get this to 10K. So
Yeah.
that's the goal for 2025 is 10K on the book club channel.
10K book club watchers.
Yeah.
We can find 10,000 people who are just as unhinged as we are.
Probably not.
No, I think we can do it.
We can find 10,000 people who are entertained by how unhinged we are.
Okay,
But they don't need to be as unhinged as we are. They just need to find our unhingedness entertaining.
that's fair.
Yeah. At 10,000, I will post feet for free. I'll post feet pics to Maine.
Sure.
Yeah. When we hit 10,000 subscribers on this channel, I will post sexy feet pics in the like community tab of this channel.
Yeah, that's what everyone really wants out of book club, actually.
Hey.
Is feet pictures.
Somebody does.
Yeah, even if they don't know it yet.
So we get Lopen and Huyo start trying to save all of the sailors, and they're fighting this kaiju. They're really struggling because the spears that they brought aren't shards. Neither of them have their shards yet.
Yeah.
And so as they are bashing the shell of this great shell, they're not able to penetrate it, which really is so fascinating because it implies that when the Sleepless create like a human, it's like a human level of hardness. But when they create a great shell, it's like a great shell level of hardness. And so the Kremlings the Kremlings of the swarm can like have wildly different hardnesses.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating.
They somehow breed the little kremlings that they then turn into the parts of their body.
Oh yeah, it's fully
to
eugenics.
be able to do different things.
Yeah. But the variety in the Kremlings is crazy in these swarms. Like they can be basically fucking anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a great moment where Huyo almost gets swallowed, almost gets eaten alive.
Yeah.
And he gets saved by the motherfucking Lopen. And guess what happens? Huyo immediately regrets it because he's like, fuck, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
Yeah, but then he saves the Lopen because the Lopen gets fucked up.
Well, so we at one point Huyo's like, be careful, there are swarms of like basically little bugs that can eat your stormlight.
Yeah.
And baby larkins. And yeah, Lopen gets his stormlight stolen.
Yeah.
And he gets crushed.
Oh yeah, he falls out of the sky and gets fucking whammed.
You know that scene in every Dragon Ball Z fight where someone finally is losing and then they get punched through a mountain and then they get cratered into the ground and then their line broken in the crater?
Yeah.
It's that, but it's the Lopen.
It's his crater moment.
And so he has his we throughout this whole fight we're getting the Lopen be like, I will defend even those I hate. And he doesn't get his shard and he's like, this isn't fair. I don't hate anybody. Nobody hates me. I'm a fucking great dude. I'm the Lopen.
No hate
What
here.
What is this?
Only good vibes. Good vibes only. So of course.
But it's a real problem, right? Like,
yeah.
He's like, I don't hate anyone.
Yeah. Which means that Huyo has to step up and summons a shard hammer.
And so he looks Lopen dead in the eyes and he goes, I will protect those, even those I fucking cannot stand. And then a glyph of ice gets burned into the ground and suddenly shards.
Shards.
Not for Lopen.
No, not everybody. Okay. Everyone except Lopen.
Carrion says, I feel so bad for Lopen here because he didn't seem to pick up the meaning of that look, but I sure did. I don't know. I think he did pick it up. Because in the epilogue, he talks to Hugo and he's like, hey, cousin.
Hey, man, what was that look?
So you said that you'll protect even those you hate. And when you did it, you looked me dead in the fucking eyes.
And Hugo's like, look, I don't hate you, but you're annoying as fuck.
Let's save the epilogue for the epilogue, though.
Sure, yeah.
And so Huyo 1v1s this giant great shell. He's able to turn his hammer into a spear.
Yeah.
Toss it right through the body.
And then 6 more kaiju appear, so they have to fucking book it. They're like, well, this isn't working. We need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And so they're running. Let's cut back down to Risen, because we kind of did the fight. Mm-hmm. Risen sits, while knowing Nickley's coming, we kind of skipped over. Cord made a air canoe, so out of a bench and some Fabriels, so that Risen can like canoe herself around the room. And she uses that to set up her little traditional Thalen merchant area. I
thought they took the rubies to use for the shard plate for that.
Oh, so she canoed before that.
Yeah, that was before.
But she ends up sitting cross-legged and preparing to go into negotiations for a trade.
Yep.
And Nickley's like, you have nothing that we want. And what follows, here's the thing. At the end of chapter 18, I was like, the way that this book ends has to really like justify this, because it got a little out of hand. The book got a little out of hand, right?
Right.
And so the bringing it home in the end here, this crazy kaiju fight's happening. There's all of this going on. I was like, they really have to justify all of this with a satisfying conclusion. And in chapter 19, the negotiation that we get between Risen and the Sleepless was exactly that. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but all of the beats of it really worked. The argument of like, because the whole book is about like being a good trader is about finding a need.
Yes.
It's not about, which is what...
Even if it's not what they think that they want, right?
Well, and it's not just about getting the best deal.
Yeah.
I wish, the President of the United States would understand that. But satisfying needs is the goal of any trade, right?
Yeah.
And in this moment, they're like, we don't need anything. And Nickley's like, well, no, you need to keep your secret. And the problem is your secret isn't kept. They're like, well, we'll kill you. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't keep the secret.
Yeah. The ship is already leaking.
Yeah.
Right? You can only plug it so many times, but those cracks are going to keep splitting open.
Yeah. And I just found the entire conversation in this final chapter, learning about the Dawnshard and the like 4 commands that can rip apart a god, how it's just, she is the Dawnshard, and how, it's not that it's in her, it's that it is her now, and how much that changes her.
Yeah.
I found that deeply fascinating. And the way she needled her way into getting her resolution, and starting from a place of, my crew is non-negotiable. Yes. They might not trust me the most. We might be working our way towards working together, but non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And I loved this whole conversation in the final chapter.
Oh yeah, I thought it was I thought it was great. And I was worried about how this would all wrap up by the end of the book. I was like, what's happening? I'm just very confused. But I think it was so well done. I loved that it was all from Risen's POV, because how she views this situation and also like remembers her training and the like tactics that she's able to employ that are not like shady, right? Like sometimes when you think of like there's a lot of like shady merchant tropes.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to get something out of you and undercut you so that they walk away with the best deal. And that's not why Risen does this.
Yeah.
It is about finding that need and meeting it and getting fulfilled in life by meeting the needs of others. Mm-hmm. And I loved that. So they sit down to negotiate.
Yeah.
It doesn't go great.
Not at first, but eventually they do get there.
Yeah.
The negotiation ultimately leads to them agreeing that one question, the one thing the book doesn't answer that is kind of a lingering question for me, is what happens when Risen dies? Because it's pretty clear that the way they're going to get the Dawnshard out of her is they're going to kill her. And so her solution is sort of short term in that, like, Risen's young, but the problem with the idea that Risen isn't going to die anytime soon is that the world is in the middle of a very violent war where superpowered people are flying around murdering people. And so the idea that she's just safe going back to Thalena, a city that was recently sieged by magic superpower evil people, not evil, but like evil to her, who would kill her without a thought, didn't make the most sense to me. Like, if they weren't in the middle of a global war with superpowered people that can fly in and kill you at a moment's notice, I would agree more with the way the negotiation goes. The negotiation almost feels like it is ignoring the fact that there is this massive global level scale combat going on, and that Risen almost died in it, like, recently. But
yeah,
if Risen dies, what happens to the Dawnshard is a big question for me. And also, but that aside, the idea that the best place to hide the Dawnshard is in just a random person is pretty brilliant, right?
Yeah, like, it makes sense. Like, your enemy, if they're looking for this thing, is going to start where they know it was and try and, like, track, like, where it might go from there. But having it be someone kind of random and unconnected, when there's no pattern, rhyme, or reason, is a good way to hide something. Now, it depends how public this voyage was.
Well, and that gets into the other problem of, like, if the people looking for the Dawnshard know that if someone looks at the mural, they become the Dawnshard, then the first people you're going to check for the Dawnshard when it's not in the mural are going to be all of the people that were on that first voyage.
Yeah.
Like, Risen is the first person who's going to get checked for the Dawnshard if someone knows that it can be transferred to a person.
Well, yes, but they would also have to go check the mural first to make sure that it's not there.
Right. And so I'm assuming that, like, the thing that's going to save Risen is not actually that she's some random woman, because she isn't a random woman. She is the owner and proprietor of the first voyage that found the Sleepless and the trainer of the Sleepless. What is going to save her is that people are going to scour that island and not know that the Dawnshard was kept in an underground cavern.
Sure, yeah. And if you know the Ancient Guardians at all, Chiri Chiri is also kind of a giveaway. Like, if you're old enough to know that the Guardians were the Guardians before the Sleepless.
Yeah. God, the more I'm thinking about the negotiations now, the more I'm like, I don't actually know that this was the best plan.
Well, it makes sense because it came from a place of desperation. And I think desperation on both sides, right?
Yeah.
The main point of this negotiation is your purpose, the Sleepless purpose, is that you, like, value life and you don't want to kill people, right? Your justification for killing people is that more people will die if you don't kill said people. But if you are trying to convince a non-violent group or of peoples that they don't have to commit violence, I think that like nature and tendency is already going to be on your side.
Interesting,
right? If you give them a solution that does that negates violence against people that Nickley likes, you know what I mean?
Well, and it's surprising to me that Nickley was the one who's allowed to do the negotiation because Nickley was the one who's most biased. Right? Like, there is an element in the negotiation that I'm surprised one of the other swarms didn't push Nickley out of being the negotiator.
Yeah.
Because of Nickley's admitted bias towards liking the humans.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting element of it. But, yeah. And so we get to the point where they come up with this 2-layer cover-up that allows for Nickley and her crew to survive. And for the Sleepless now to tail her back. The Sleepless are going to be revealed to the world. And what is that going to mean moving forward in Rhythm of War is a big question that I have.
Well, Lift is not going to be surprised.
Oh, yeah, Lift will be like, oh, I met one of them. And everyone's going to be like, what?
What do you mean you met one of them?
Fucking girl?
I know, yeah.
What do you mean you met a Sleepless before?
Yeah. But yeah, the Sleepless are going to train to be able to better imitate humans.
Which is terrible for humanity, actually, but...
It's not great. We just have to hope that the Sleepless are benevolent by nature.
Yeah. And so the book ends, and we get to the epilogue. The epilogue starts with Lopen having this conversation with Huyo about, like, am I a good person, basically. And Huyo being like, not really. Like, I love you.
Yeah.
Kind of piece of shit. And Lopen
you
takes
can be
it...
difficult.
very well.
Yeah.
Because Lopen is like, I just want to make people happy, which is, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, this is Brandon Sanderson going, maybe this joke isn't funny, and it feels less in-world and more real, more a reflection of Brandon Sanderson going, oh, is Wax not that funny? Or sorry, is Wayne not that funny?
I think it's both.
Is Lopen not that funny?
Yeah.
Do I need to apologize for that and become a better comedy writer? And I think that he does. And he did here. I think that this is a great first step for little B. Sands.
Yeah, I am curious to see how Lopen changes from here. Chris, thank you for that super chat as opposed to naughty by nature. Yes.
Yeah.
That could pose some problems. But yeah, I mean, look, Lopen takes it very well, I think, considering. And,
better than Wayne would.
Yeah. And in that, realizes what his version of the next ideal is.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
He basically is like, I'm going to try. And the Stormfather is like, these words are accepted.
Yeah,
I'm
going to do better. I'm not perfect and I can do better.
Yeah.
I get it.
James Ross says, I liked Wayne and the Lopen. Am I the baddie? No, you're not the baddie. There's nothing wrong with liking them. I think that there is a limit to the reality with which those characters can be interacted with the way they are in his books. And the fact that nobody ever really fully tires of them, to me, is unrealistic.
It's like when you have a D&D table.
Yeah.
And the stakes of the campaign are very high.
Yeah.
But you have one character who can't take anything seriously. That just becomes grating after a while, and you need to find a way to have that character give a shit about the story. And that is really Lopen's journey.
Yeah.
In this book, is that he's on this mission that he actually does give a shit about. And he does give a shit about the people. And he realizes that, like, he can do better. In a way that, like, Kaladin also realizes that he can do better. Like, the journey of the Radiance is so much about, like, not growth, but yeah, there's a better word for
self-actualization and
just growing and learning and choosing to be better and do better.
Yeah, I think Mispronounced Name says, I loved reading Wayne. I would hate to have him in my life. That's the problem, right? Is that when you create a character like that, there will become a point where the audience feeling like I would hate having them in my life starts to grate against the audience's belief that the characters would be okay continuing to have them in their life.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that it's important that Wayne and Lopen both grow out of their worst behaviors in order to, be people that you can understand why the characters want to have around.
Yeah.
And so I think that I think that it's a nice moment of self-reflection that will benefit the books moving on forward.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that he has that acknowledgement, but then with the Stormfather, he's still joking with the Stormfather with his, like, no sense of drama, And so, like, it's not that the Lopen can't be funny.
Yeah.
He just can't be an asshole.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
He has to have layers. Because real assholes have layers.
Yeah.
And I just think that I think that there's, especially because this is a Kickstarted book, I think there's a level of acknowledgement that I appreciate.
Yeah.
Arzu, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, Arzu.
From this, we learned that the third ideal isn't really about hatred, but about following the ideal even when it conflicts with your more selfish desires. I like that framing of it. That's a great way of... I had the thought, but I couldn't put it into words as eloquently as you just did, Arzu.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to put it. Because I was like, wow, these ideals are so specific.
Yeah, these words are,
Yeah, these words are so specific.
For sure.
This, and then it became, like, slightly different in terms of, like, Teft.
Yeah.
And I do like that the ideals are more of a flexible concept than they are saying specific words to get a shard blade, right?
Well, and they're about how
to level up.
How do you become better, right? And I do think that it's why Teft's words were, even if the person I hate the most is myself, right? I think that there's an element of these characters having to realize what is the worst thing about themselves in order to become better. And, you know, for Lopen, unfortunately, what he needs to be better at is empathy. Because he doesn't have empathy for other people. He wants other people to be happy in ways that make him happy. But he doesn't acknowledge or understand that not everyone is going to be made happy by the same things that he would.
Yeah, like he thinks that he knows what empathy is.
Yes.
Right? He's like, this guy obviously likes heights.
Because
why wouldn't he?
He wants people to be happy, which is a great goal.
Yeah.
But you have to go about that in a way that keeps in mind their feelings.
Yeah.
You know, it's like... you know, you hear these like horror stories of gifts husbands give their wives where like the guy's like, well, I love golf. Golf makes me so happy. So I bought you clubs for your birthday because if you came and golfed with me, you'd be happy too.
Yeah.
And like the guy isn't doing anything like really wrong on one level because he is trying to make her happy. His goal is her happiness. He just is so unable to view the lens of what she wants in life.
Yeah.
That he's not able to properly provide a gift that would actually bring her happiness. He just, if she was more like him, it would, right?
Yeah.
It's what he would have wanted. And
it's like that woman who was like, I would love a trip to Greece for my birthday. And the guy's like, I bought you an egg apron.
Okay. But that's different in that.
Yeah, that was very specific.
You have to know that you have trip to Greece money in the budget for that gift.
Well, and that was the joke, is that they did. They're fucking like multi-millionaire.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, she's one of those like trad wife people. Who they're like very, very, very wealthy.
Oh, okay.
She was like, I want a trip to Greece, and he's like, I got you an egg collecting apron, and the internet lost its mind.
An egg collecting apron?
Yeah, because they have
chickens?
a farm. Yeah. So he got her an apron to put the eggs in. And it's like, it's dumb shit.
Erudite Gaming says the issue is a really self-involved view of the world. Yeah, and that's Lopen's, and that's what gets grating about Lopen and about Wayne, is that it's always about them.
Yeah.
And in a way that like is occasionally funny, but often isn't. And I think that Brandon Sanderson, I feel like he's getting better about writing both characters as they've progressed. I think the second book for both of them is the worst. I think Words of Radiance is the worst Lopen stuff. And I think
Shadows of Self.
Yeah, I think the Shadows of Self Wayne stuff is fucking rough.
Interesting, yeah.
When he's fucking stalking that girl. Remember when he stalked that girl to her dorm?
Yeah.
And then that never came back or was relevant ever again?
We haven't read the fourth book.
It better be in fucking Alloy of Law, because they dropped that shit fast.
Wait, no, Alloy of Law, isn't that the first one?
Sorry.
The 11th is the
Lost
Metal. That's it. Yeah.
And so,
yeah, this book...
I'm sorry. I'm so hung up on egg collecting apron.
Sorry, yeah.
Does it have like different holes for each egg?
Pockets, yeah. You put them in individual little pockets. Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah,
but it's not a bad gift. It's just bad if it's the only gift.
It's bad because she was like, "This is what I want for my birthday," and he was like, "Nah, that's not what you want for your birthday. You want to be a trad wife." The scale of the difference is so wild. Because if you told me, like, I want a trip to Greece, I'd be like, all right, we need to plan that together. Like, that can't just be, like, something that I just schedule for us. Yeah, no. This was very specific a circumstance. I'll find it later.
Wild.
Maybe we'll talk about it on our new podcast. Anyways.
Oh, well, relationship advice? How to give a girl a gift?
How to give a girl a gift.
That's a good episode.
That. Yeah. That would actually be a great one.
The gift is my dick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I call it. That's not true, actually. I call my voice the gift, so...
I was thinking a fun segment for our new podcast would be rating people's dating profiles.
Like our audience's dating profiles?
Anyone's.
Oh, so we would just go on Hinge and
we could find them, but also if people want to submit theirs, they could also do that. Here's the thing.
The people would have to submit them. Because I don't want to just mock people who don't know they're being mocked. That feels just cruel.
Maybe.
But also if people submit them, then we're just mocking our audience.
Or they're good. Or maybe we should do an episode on how to create a good dating profile.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that show is not out yet, so don't worry about it.
Final section, we get to Risen.
Yeah.
Who's with... I listened to this book and I still don't know how to pronounce this name. Because it's Drlwan.
Oh, the captain. Droln. I don't know.
Droln.
Drooling that.
And we get the sweet
Drooling.
moment that everyone knew was coming, where she's like, "Hey, I heard you made the crew a non-negotiable. Do you want to touch the big wheel?
Do you want to touch the butt?
You want to touch the big wheel?" And Rizen's like, "I've never wanted more than anything in my entire life. Thank you so much."
Pretty much, yeah.
And throughout this entire epilogue, Risen is like, "Wow, like food tastes so good. The colors are so bright.
Oh, yeah.
I hear music in the air.
Yeah.
I am the Dawnshard. Cuckoo, cachoo."
Which is obviously an investiture, like breath, right? From Warbreaker.
Oh, interesting.
I thought that's where you're going with it. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think about the breaths doing the same thing. No.
She's basically got like god level breath.
Oh, that's fun.
I don't know if she can infuse it like in animate objects, but that's what I thought.
It's like 50,000 breath or whatever the like breath bank that
the gods have.
That the one god has. Because everyone else only had 2 breaths. Only the god king god, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
tongueless.
Yeah.
Well, he's not tongueless anymore, but yeah, right. The breaths did the same thing to them. Fuck.
Yeah. So Risen is obviously gonna have to meet Vasher and Azure, right?
I don't think I don't think it's breath. I think that it is the I think that it is like breath, right? I think that it is when you have that much investiture, it does that no matter which investiture it is. So I think that like I don't
Do you think like Kaladin, once he reaches like level 5, is gonna see colors better?
Maybe level like 8 or 9.
I thought there were only 5.
Aren't there 10?
No.
Yeah, aren't there 10 levels to being a storm boy?
A Windrunner? A Knight's Radiant?
Yeah, Storm Boy.
No, I believe it's 5.
5, okay.
Thanks.
Weren't there? But there were more tiers than 5 to the breath people, right?
There's 10 orders. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I know there's 10 orders. I thought there were also 10 levels, but
no. 5 ideals.
10 and 5 is weird. I like the not being divided. The multiples of 4 is odd to me.
It should all be 16.
Yeah, or there should be like 12 Knights Radiant. It should all be multiples of 4.
Maybe there are 12 orders and 6 ideals, but no one's ever found them yet.
No, but 6 ultima isn't multiple of 4.
At least it's even.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Late Blindfold Full brings up 5 books so far, 5 books planned, 10 books. Yeah, so Roshar breaks the 16 up a little bit, even though nowhere else does.
Yeah.
Huh. Mispronounced name says 16 is special to preservation, not all investitures. But there are 16 investitures. Yeah. So I don't think it's special to preservation because Ad Analysium got broken up into 16, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the book. We did it.
Oh, there are 10 heightenings of breath. That's what it was.
Brandon Sanderson, you're a fucking nerd.
Yep.
I can't remember all this shit, man.
So who's going to Dragonsteel?
Not us.
Well, maybe by December.
I don't know if we haven't finished Wind and Truth. It depends on when we finish Wind and Truth.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can do that by November.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Arzu, what are we reading next week?
That is a great question. I think it's essays, right?
I know, but I just don't know what they are. Can someone... Also, do we have a Rhythm of War, like, reading order yet?
Oh, like a split. Yeah, we got to chat with our mods, figure out the split and what books are coming up next. And also if people want to commission chapter reactions. So we'll figure that out.
Arzu says you missed something people like talking about. Did you notice that the Reshi King is changing towards his ideal self? What?
Oh, the Reshi King became a Radiant and looks different now, remember?
The Reshi King became a Radiant?
Yeah. Yeah, I did forget about that.
Did we meet the Reshi King in this book?
He's a dust bringer?
No, that was Talik, right?
No, that's the king.
No, that
Talik
was
is
right.
Yes.
Oh my god, I confused the shit out of those two. Yeah, he's a Dustbringer. We did skip over that. That happens at the beginning of the book, and Lopen's like, you have to go see another Dustbringer.
Wait, so are you telling me that the light-colored eyes are people's ideal selves? Is that what that's supposed to mean?
That's gross. Because that implies some, like, weird...
Look, I've always wanted green eyes, but that's...
Oh, shit. Because that implies... No, I really dislike that, because then that implies that every single Dark Eyes ideal self is a Light Eyes, and I don't buy that.
No, yeah, there's no way. So then why does the Reshi King look different?
He's working out?
Sure, yeah. He's just eating protein and taking creatine. I guess.
Officially, Sam says the Reshi Kings become a Radiant and is kind of trans representation is the thing. What the... I did not get that from this book.
I missed that.
If that happened in this book, I missed it. When did the fucking Reshi King become a queen?
Well, they've always... Right, when Risen meets them for the first time, they're like, wait, that's a woman. Wait, remember this was a thing.
Yeah, but being androgynous isn't being trans. You can be an androgynous king.
No, but they they referred to themselves as king. Right? Reshi King had boobs in book 2, no boobs in this book.
Did this book take a second to stop and say that person did not have boobs?
So wait, so because he became a Radiant and took in Stormlight, the Stormlight healed him to become an actual man?
So does he have a Stormlight dick?
I guess, yeah.
Oh shit. I've never been fucked by a Stormlight dick.
Unfortunately, I don't. Unless Bad Dragon comes out with a Stormlight dick dildo, I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Syl would be so excited.
Interesting.
I kind of hate it.
So that's how...
For reasons, but...
Well, no, it's because they've always seen themselves as a man and not a woman. And so when they gained the magical ability to actualize their body, it changed into a man's body.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it because of the implications for, like, other people.
Well, it's why Kaladin's slave brand never went away. Remember? And we feel weird about that.
But I don't think his ideal is that he's a slave.
Yeah.
Like, if it's changing you to how you view yourself, that is very different than becoming your ideal self. You know what I mean? Like, using the word becoming their ideal self is maybe the language that I'm butting up against.
Okay.
If the king is transitioning because how they truly view themselves, then it lines up with what's going on with Kaladin. But if becoming a Radiant makes you your ideal self, then it doesn't.
Well, ideal in your own eyes or ideal... Like, I think that's the same thing. It's just like a different way of phrasing it. Because I know, I understand what you mean, but I think...
Chat's agreeing with me. Okay. Yeah, my problem was with the language of, like, they're becoming their ideal self, because ideal is a real weird word in the world of what's going on in these books with these characters, but how you view yourself naturally...
Yeah.
And maybe that's more what transitioning is, right? Like, I don't know any trans people who are transitioning to be their ideal self.
Yeah.
They're transitioning to be... themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of trans women who would love to, like, look like Kylie Jenner, right? But that's not really what the process is. Mm-hmm. It's not a process of... And for some people it is. Some people spend a shit ton of money on surgeries to... Look at the guy who did it to look like Superman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a difference between becoming a, like, more fake but more idealistic version of who you wish you were, and becoming who you are.
Yeah.
And I do think the healthier version is to become who you are, which is why I'm so supportive of, gender affirming care.
Yeah.
Because I do think that the reality is that you should be able to be comfortable in your body.
Yeah.
But being comfortable in your body and being your ideal self aren't the same thing.
No,
right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Do you think I'm totally off here?
No, I think that's fair. And I think that's why, like, language is really important. Like,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a word, like how words don't matter. But I think that they really do. I think that
But in this case,
being as clear as possible, especially when it comes to people's identity, especially, is like it's really important to handle it with care.
But even the being who you actually are thing is weird, because then that also implies that the light eyes, that the dark eyes view themselves as light eyes, or that they are like self-aggrandizing themselves to be light eyes,
which is apparently a totally different thing.
Okay, so the light eyes is a different thing than
Apparently
the
that's
looking like you're supposed to look.
Totally different thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Because also the light
I'll
eyes
take
things
that.
only changes when they like suck in the stormlight. So it makes sense that it's a completely different thing. Yeah, that was my misunderstanding. When I was reading the comments. So that's
Michael Kioski says thank you for understanding.
Fucking Christ. I hate you, Stream Elements. There should be a bunch of different chat things that go off throughout the stream. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Mistborn Name says Kaladin thinks he deserves the brands. I understand that that's what the book is going for. It is one of my biggest qualms with the Stormlight Archive.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for us.
It is the biggest flaw to me in the Stormlight Archives is Brandon Sanderson. The way Brandon Sanderson is trying to write this element of the way Kaladin views himself, and the way his depression is manifesting, and the way that he wants his main character to have the like trappings of being depressed over his slavery and that, and deserving it, but also doesn't want to engage in the slavery element of this world all that deeply, and wants to kind of forget that was a part of the first two books. And so you have this Kaladin character who is becoming less and less important to the story because it is harder for Brandon Sanderson to deal with how Kaladin's feeling because of the dark eyes and the slavery and all of those elements of Alethi culture that Brandon Sanderson doesn't seem that interested in pulling forward into the books as he's moving forward with the story against the Fused.
Yeah.
And it's causing this weird shift where Kaladin isn't as much of a main character in Oathbringer as he was. I'm hoping that he course corrects this in Rhythm of War. But right now there's a weird tension in Kaladin where his purpose in the story is real unclear right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Arzu sent me the reading order.
Oh shit, let's fucking go.
So Scadrial section of Arcanum Unbound is next.
Hell yeah, brother, sister, friends.
Containing 11th metal. I can't remember if you already did this one. Containing 11th metal? I don't think we did that one.
The 11th metal? Or is it called Containing the 11th metal? I don't know. We'll figure that out later. What else are we reading? So next week is Arcanum Unbounded. I think it's the end of the Arcanum Unbounded. I think we will have finally read all of it.
Oh, really? We got Alamancer Jack and the Pits of Eltania. And then... And Thurnet...
Wait, we're doing Alamancer Jack next week? Why aren't we doing that when we go back to... Oh, because we were supposed to do that this week before we did Dawnshard. That's my bad.
Oh, really?
I wanted to come back with Dawnshard and not some essays, so...
Oh, right. And Thernody section of Arcanum Unbound containing Shadows of Silence in the Forest of Hell.
The Threnodite system.
The fuck?
Are we reading Sixth of the Dusk? Because that's also in here. And that's 2 hours long. Anyway, and then what's the week after that? We'll figure out... We'll try and make that make sense.
No, that's it.
What's next? What's the week after that?
No, that's all. That's what I got.
Oh, do we not have the split for Rhythm of War?
Probably not.
Okay.
So we will have to figure that out with you guys in the Discord. Yeah,
okay.
We can figure that out. Oh, Sweet and Saber is very excited for Shadows of Silence.
Oh, is it? It's good? Great. Can't wait to read it.
Yeah, okay. Sixth of the Dusk is complicated. Okay, so we will get to that one at a later date then.
Sixth of the Dusk will be included in an upcoming book? All right.
Okay. Sure, that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, so next week we have those essay chunks and such to get through.
And that's book club.
That is book club.
Do you want to do high-low?
Yeah, sorry. Someone asked about the reactions. Commissioned reactions are going to be on this channel. Okay.
And no, they're on this channel and Nerdy Nightly until June 13th.
Yes, and then
post June 13th, they will only be on this channel and Patreon.
Yes, the channel and Patreon. If you're looking for like the movie reactions and stuff, that will be the other channel. That's why we made the prices the absolute lowest we could possibly go for
this channel.
For this channel and the Nerdy Nightly, so that
Nerdy Nightly price hasn't changed yet.
because there's still everything on there, right?
Well, and yeah, so basically, like, people are still gifting memberships over there for book club, or there are some gifted memberships for book club over there still. Once those die, then I have to change the tier. So I have to make a new tier. Basically, you can't change the price of a tier that's already active.
Yeah.
And so I will be adjusting the tier over there. I might be able to change it to be $3 Canadian, which would make it cheaper everywhere. So it might be that this channel's $3 US and that channel's $3 Canadian, so that they're the same price.
But the other stuff is no. Let's just keep it because then conversion.
No. I might make that channel $5 Canadian, and then this channel will be $3 American, and so they'll be basically the same price.
Oh,
so that I don't have to make a new tier.
Make a new tier for the currency.
But it'll make
That's yeah. That's,
don't worry about it.
Fair.
This is a segment at the end of the show where we celebrate high and low. We celebrate our highs, commiserate over each other's lows. Because my family did this at the dinner table at night. Because I had 2 stepsisters and we had problems.
Family.
Yeah, it took us years to become a real family. You know what I mean? My parents got married and then we struggled through it a bit. And now love them with all my heart. Can't imagine them not being my sisters. It just took work. And so we do the work of bonding as a married unit, as well as all of our friends, by doing high-low. Clarus does her high, I do my low. She does her low, I do my high. Because we complement sandwich this book. So Clarus, what's the high of Dawnshard?
There really are so many good moments and themes.
Yeah, it's a good book. I really enjoyed it.
In the show, like, it is difficult to pick a high, honestly. Like, I'm like, do I pick like a specific moment or do I pick like an overarching theme of the book? And that's gonna be real tough.
We do this. We've done like north of 100 episodes of this show.
I know.
And you know this segment has been in since the first episode.
I know, but there's so much that I like.
I know, but you got to pick something.
I think that my high in terms of like my enjoyment of reading it was how Risen was able to twist people's perceptions of superstitions and just really highlighted like how what's the right word, how vulnerable those ideas can be depending on whose hands they're in. And it shows in a weird way how easy it can be to manipulate people. Yeah. But it also, because Risen is a good character. Yeah. She uses that for positivity. And I thought it was a really interesting way to deal with human nature.
Interesting.
Yeah. What is your low?
It's just the moments in the like Fabriel experimentation scenes where I started to like my eyes glazed over a little bit. Sure. It was the only moments in the book because any of the action, any of the dialogue, and any of the scenes, I really really enjoyed this book quite a bit. Like I thought it was, I hope that came across in conversation today. Like I thought it was great. The only parts that I kind of found myself being like was some of the experimenting with the Fabriels. I'm just not as interested as I think Brandon Sanderson is. And that's just a personal thing. I think, I said my piece about it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, for sure. My low is, nothing really. I don't have a low because I also I thought that those experiments were kind of fun. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have a low. Great. For this book.
My high was definitely the epilogue with Lopen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think I think that it's going to be such a big, I think it's going to be really good for the rest of the Stormlight Archive.
For sure.
That Lopen grows up a little bit as the war gets more serious. Yeah. I think that's going to really help Rhythm of War and Wind and Truth. I think having Lopen around being the same Lopen as this conflict gets a little as we head into the next stage of the conflict would be rough. And so I think that in terms of this book, it was a great scene. It was built up to really well. And then for the Stormlight Archive as a whole, it's very meaningful.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was great character stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is...
Risen.
Of course. She's the lead.
Oh, right. Chiri comes back and has evolved and is only going to keep getting bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And that is going to be a problem.
We never talk about Risen basically has a dragon now.
Kind of.
It's going to be huge.
A mini dragon.
But she also has to come back, which is made easier by the Oath Gates.
Which is why I think the Luxbrand are not Luxbrand because they have to bond. Anyways.
Nicholas Reed says she is risen indeed.
She is. She is risen.
She is risen. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
And that was Dawnshard.
Hell yeah.
All right, prudes, get out of here. Let's talk sex.
Yeah. Thanks for having faith in us and bopping over the new channel.
Yeah, appreciate it. Great viewership today, which I was very scared for.
Yeah, we were like, oh no, we're going to move it to a new channel and no one's going to remember that book club exists.
Well, and the Fourth Wing Book Club did okay, but I was really worried we were going to do this show and realize by moving channels, it killed viewership for Astral Dusk so hard. Yeah. We dropped from 2,000 views a video to 200. And I was like, fuck, if we kill book club by doing this, YouTube was slowly killing book club because they didn't want to share it on the Nerdy Nightly. Yeah. But yeah, just the fear of change, Always. Clarisse, where would you add sex into this book?
Well.
Can I give you the
one you don't want?
Yeah.
You're like, you cannot fuck Rock's daughter.
No, not that. Oh. After seeing the way in which Nick Lee's body can kind of come apart and move, there is a part of me that's like, if he fingered you with those Kremlings, how many sensations would Risen feel? You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Because there's space in between them?
Well, because they got they can undulate, and his fingers can do things no human fingers can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
His Baltimore crab's penis.
But that also means that he has unlimited holes.
I'm just saying the whole crew could fuck Nick Lee at the same time.
Yeah. That gangbang would be unparalleled.
Nick Lee cannot be airtight.
Yeah. That girl who fucked 1,000 guys in a day or whatever.
There's Bonnie Blue, yeah.
Yeah. This would be nothing because that would be nothing in comparison to this because all the Kremlings could just separate. Yeah. And there's so many places to stick things. Wow, that's really impressive. Honestly, yeah. 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 I wonder if there's Rule 34 Stormlight edition, and someone's
yeah, probably
drawn this. I could see someone having done this.
That 90% of Rule 34 Stormlight edition is Syl getting fucked by Kaladin. You know what I mean? I'm willing to bet that's the vast majority of art in the Rule 34 section.
Yeah, probably.
There's definitely some Yasna's big tits content.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Love that for us.
Anyways, do something nerdy tonight. I'm so sorry, chat.
Thank you to our mods. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye.